Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Burl Fowler Stadium. Tonight we're going to introduce our fall sports seniors. And we'll be starting with our football players. Our first senior, Kai Bouchard, is being escorted by Adam Bouchard. His favorite memory was when he scored his first varsity touchdown last week against McDonald County. It was the best feeling I have ever felt, and I will remember it for the rest of my life. My future plans are to go to college and study psychology. Riley Braden. Riley's being escorted by Joe Braden and Jeff Braden. His greatest memory is his freshman year when he scored a touchdown and spiked the ball. His plans after graduation is to attend college. Gunnar Bradley is being escorted by Daryl and Carrie Bradley. My favorite memory is my first full varsity start last year against Lamar, where I got Defensive Player of the Week. Also, spending time with my brothers on and off the field. My future plans are to major in engineering and wrestle in college. Carter Brink. He's being escorted by Zoe and Robert Brink. Carter's favorite memory was meeting Lamar for the first time in 9 years. Carter plans to wrestle in college and study PT. Chet Butterworth is being escorted by Mark and Sabra Butterworth. His favorite memory, playing California my sophomore year. We were expecting that the game would last to 2 o'clock in the morning, and getting to play the next day. Next to my brother Corey, I plan on attending Crowder College for 2 years, then transfer to Oklahoma State University to major in agribusiness. Junior Cavazos is being escorted by Tom Cavazos and Tiffany Cavazos. My greatest memory is beating Lamar on my birthday and getting to play along my brother Otto Cavazos. My plans after graduation is to play football in college somewhere and still undecided on what major I want to pursue. Jamie Quinn. Jamie is being escorted by Jamie Quinn Sr. and Diana Quinn. My favorite memory was scoring 3 touchdowns and having my little brother Drew score 1 too. Our team ended up winning 47-0. Family is forever. His future plans are playing football in college and eventually in life. I have enough money to support my health and my own family. Larry Gutierrez. Larry will be escorted by Gabriella and David Jimenez. My best memory is when we defeated Lamar this year after nearly a decade. My future plans are to go to Drury for an education degree and become a pre-K teacher.
A pleasant good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to beautiful Burl Fowler Stadium. This is Benji Finsky, alongside my broadcast partner Leonard Bauer, and our producer-engineer Ryan Dasso. We're coming to you live from Monett, where tonight the Cubs will host the Nevada Tigers in a battle of Big 8 West rivals. Monett, under the guidance of fifth-year head coach Derek Ewell, is coming off back-to-back 47-0 victories over East Newton and McDonald County. The Cubs, winners of 5 in a row, are now 6-2 and are playing some of their best football of the season. Nevada, under the direction of Coach Wes Beechler, is 0-8, and they've lost 14 in a row dating back to last year. The Tigers come in tonight's contest following last week's 42-0 loss at home against the Lamar Tigers. Let me bring in my broadcast partner, Leonard Bauer. Leonard, after 2 losses in the first 3 weeks, the Cubs have put together a really nice winning streak. Who are they going to turn to tonight? Who will they lean on tonight to try to finish this regular season with 7 wins?
Well, tonight is senior night, and the seniors are being recognized. So I think probably they will probably try to feature the seniors, especially people like Carter Brink, this is his 3rd year, and Carter put in some tough times when he was a sophomore quarterback, but he has grown and he's gotten better. And Carter especially, I think. Brandon Majors, a senior who's having a great year, filled a hole that we didn't know if it had anyone could fill it well at the beginning of the season, and boy, he has done a good job of filling that hole at fullback in the offense. So I think they'll feature the seniors. You know, Trevon Price is playing his first year of high school football, and I'd like to see him catch a touchdown pass tonight. I just wonder if Coach Yule wouldn't try to do that maybe. So, and of course, both lines, offensive and defensive, have just been awesome all year for the Cubs.
They really have, and they'll lean on them here tonight. You know, you mentioned it's senior night here at Burrow Fowler. The Cubs are honoring 13 senior football athletes at this moment. Um, and one of those was Kai Bassard. And as he was being introduced, they asked what his most memorable moment was, and he said last week, because he scored his first touchdown down at McDonald County, and he said he'd remember that forever.
Right, what a thrill.
And you know what? That's one of the best things about athletics, whether it's football, basketball, it doesn't matter. It's those lasting memories that you make. And these guys, you know, they went through some tough times as sophomores and juniors, and now as seniors, they're starting to see some of the rewards, some of the positives, and I'm sure that this season will give them a lot of memories.
I'm sure it will too, and that's one of the things about football. You create relationships with your teammates, and you establish memories from things that happen that stay with you the rest of your life.
Absolutely. And there's peaks and there's valleys. And speaking of which, the Cubs will be playing without a couple of key cogs tonight, injured last week in back-to-back plays. And we're talking about Umfleet and Cavazos. Both will be back before the end of the season, it appears. So that's good news. But both will not be playing tonight.
Correct, and that's really like losing 4 players because both of those young men started on both offense and defense. So it may take 4 other players to fill their slots, but in the long range, maybe that's a blessing for the Cubs because some other players are going to get some experience there tonight and give them a little bit more depth going into district play.
This, the last week of the regular season, the Cubs come in as a heavy favorite against a winless Tiger team. And, of course, we always say the game's played on the field and not on paper, and that's true. But an opportunity for the Cubs to rest those 2 guys going into district play, and hopefully they just get better. A week ago, at the end of the game at McDonald County, a lot of question marks as far as whether they'd be back or not. I saw both of them in the pregame getting along pretty good. Cavazos is dressed but probably will not play.
Right.
And Umfleet is in street clothes. In fact, he's in shorts and a hoodie out there, so he's a lot tougher than I am, but we already knew that.
That's probably the only way you keep him out of the game is don't let him suit up.
Yeah. So senior night here at Burrow Fowler as we honor all fall athletes here at Monett. It's the Cubs and the Tigers live from Burrow Fowler Stadium. The Home Shield Pest Control kickoff is about 28 minutes away. When we return, Leonard and I will take a look at Week 8 in the Big 8 Conference, and we'll also discuss tonight's slate of games. Stay tuned for more of the Monett Cubs pregame show after this timeout. Let me remind you that you're listening to the Monett Cubs live on KKBL and the Talon Sports Network.
Jalissa is escorted by Julio Cesar and Maria Cruz. Other activities include tennis and soccer. Future plans to attend nursing school and become a registered nurse. My favorite memories involve hanging out and having fun at band competitions with my brother and sister, Baby Braxel, a.k.a. Caesar. That funny tuba player who always makes us laugh, and that freshman in my section who always asks too many questions. And the freshman who thinks he knows everything even though he didn't go to band camp. It has been an interesting time with band, and it was definitely worth the memories created. Crystal Gorman. Crystal is escorted by Patrick Gorman and Tiffany Gorman. Other activities include NTHS and early childhood education. I plan to go on to college to get a degree in elementary education. My favorite band memory, from doing the Macarena to singing our parts to the corn maze workers. It's hard to choose just one great memory from the many years I've been a part of this band. But to choose one great feeling, it's to hear first place Monett being called over the speaker at our first competition my senior year. The feeling of knowing all of your hard work has paid off is one of the best in the world. Seeing everyone run into open-armed hugs, shouting in excitement, and tears of joy rolling down our faces is the greatest payoff to the many hours we put into this group. I wouldn't want to spend these last 7 years with anyone other than this wonderful band that I am proud to call my family. McKay Hill, escorted by Aubrey Hill and John Hill. Other activities include cross-country and marching band. Future plans to go to college and get a degree in financing. My favorite band memory, my sophomore year, the band was playing a Ships and Sailors, and they called out the command, "Captain is coming." If we stood in saluting position, then they called "Man overboard," and that's when my friend yelled, "Get down." Then he threw me down to the ground and put his foot on the top of my back. After the conductor said, "At ease," he realized he made a mistake, and we both laughed at it ever since. Clara Lindsay, escorted by Amy Lindsay and Brian Lindsay. Other activities include Key Club, Book Club, National Technical Honor Society, National Thespian Society, Color Guard, and community plays. Future plans to attend college to be a psychiatric nurse. Favorite band memory is at Kroll Junction. The Guard had just won Best Guard in our class, and all of the Guard was so happy that our Guard instructor, Lindsay, played us Slim Shady as we rolled up our flags. Not to be dramatic, but that was the best night of my life. Blake Pockner, escorted by Rhonda and Jeff Pockner. Other activities include National Honor Society, robotics, and
At Richardson Field at Burl Fowler Stadium, Benji Finsky alongside Leonard Bauer. Still about 24 minutes away from tonight's opening kickoff. A look back to Week 8 in the Big 8 Conference, where 5 of the 7 games were won by road teams last week. Hollister traveled to Rogersville. Hollister improved to 4-4 on the year. They won it 30-20. Lamar all over Nevada, 42-0. Marshfield at Aurora. It was the Blue Jays on top, 40-22. Monett traveled down to McDonald County in a 47-0 victory. Reed Spring at Cassville. There, the home team won. The Wildcats all over Reed Spring, 42-7. Seneca traveled to East Newton. It was the Indians, 41-26. And in really what was the tightest game of the weekend, Mount Vernon playing at home eked out a 20-14 victory, and Mount Vernon just continues to roll.
They really do. That's a sign of a good team. They've played some close games this year, but they've always managed to do what they had to do to win, and you wonder if that might catch up with them before the year is over, but they've been solid. They're undefeated, and I think they're ranked number 3 in the state, they at this point, looks like they deserve that ranking.
Yeah, they continue to win, a perfect 8-0 on the season. And on the east side, they're followed by Springfield Catholic and Marshfield, both 5-3. Reed Spring and Hollister, both 4-4. Rogersville 2-6, and Aurora 1-7. On the Big 8 West side, Cassville overall is 7-1, followed by Monett and Lamar at 6-2. Seneca 5-3, McDonald County 2-6, East Newton 1-7, Nevada 0-8. This week in the Big 8 Conference, Aurora travels to Reed Spring. That game can be heard on AM 940. Cassville at Lamar and will be the feature game of the week in the Big 8 Conference. That game can be heard on 97.7 FM. And Leonard, as we look at this week's schedule, that's the one game that sticks out as a big game.
Yes, most of the other games are seemingly pretty much mismatches, but that one should be very competitive. And you know the Lamar Tigers would like to get revenge for what Cassville did to them last year and ending their nation-leading winning streak. We know Lamar is not quite the Lamar team they were in past years, but they're still a very good team. But Cassville, the most impressive result I thought last week was how well Cassville handled Reed Spring. I thought Reed Spring was a pretty tough team, and Cassville handled them easily. So the Wildcats are peaking at the right time, but they're going to get challenged tonight in Lamar, I think, by the Tigers.
Absolutely. Other games in the Big Eight, McDonald County goes to Seneca. Mount Vernon travels to Hollister. Nevada right here at Burl Fowler. Rogersville at Marshfield in what should be a good ball game. And Springfield Catholic on the road at East Newton. When we take a look at the district standings, Monett has leapfrogged Cassville into the number 2 slot. In the district ranking. Mount Vernon's number 1, Monett 2, Cassville 3, Seneca 4, Reed Spring 5, Hollister 6, Aurora 7, Nevada 8. However, there is a contingency in district play that if a team beats the team directly above them in seedings, they flip-flop.
Correct.
So if districts would start today, Cassville would actually come in as the number 2 seed.
Even if Cassville loses tonight, they will probably be the number 2 seed because of that clause, because they beat Monett head-to-head.
Yep.
So it looks like the Cubs are almost, assuming they can win this game tonight, that they're pretty much solidified into the number 3 position in the district, which means they'll have a home game for their first district game. But their second district game, probably they will have to travel, probably to Cassville, because it's looking like the Cubs and the Wildcats are on a collision course for the second game of the district. And then if Seneca would upset Mount Vernon, the Cubs might get a home game for the final district game if they could beat Cassville.
Now, I will say this, Leonard. I went back and I looked at some materials from 2016. I just happened to come across some of those this past week. And the path Monett took that year, the last 3 games, meaning everything in district and so on and so forth, this by far is the best setup because every team is entered into a district tournament.
Everybody's got a chance. There were years in the past where teams that I felt could have won the state couldn't get in the playoffs because of those computer rankings. One year it was Mount Vernon, maybe another year Aurora, but there have been some years that undefeated teams couldn't even get in the playoffs. Well, now everybody gets in. Even if you haven't won a game, you've got a chance.
That's right.
And, it's unlikely that the 8th-seeded team is going to beat the 1st-seeded team, but it's happened before, and it gives those players something to play for and to look forward to until they're actually beat on the field.
That's right. And that being said, not all districts are created equal. This district has 6 teams, 500 or better. I've seen other districts in different classifications where you can look at 1 or 2 teams, and that's about it.
Right.
And, for instance, you take a look at East Newton, who struggled to put together multiple wins. They have 1 win, but they're the number 4 or 5 seed in their district right now.
Because of the tough schedule that they've played. Yeah. And, they are definitely much improved over the East Newton teams of the last year or 2. Who are they playing tonight? I was thinking
they have Catholic
Springfield
tonight.
Catholic.
Yeah.
They might surprise Springfield Catholic. They scored 26 points on Seneca last week.
Yeah.
Catholic is not quite this juggernaut that it was last year, but they're still good. But East Newton could maybe trip them up there.
And you know what? I wouldn't put past the Patriots to get a win or 2 in district play. There were years in the past where they'd struggle in the Big 8, then get into Class 2
and win their district. Yes,
so,
maybe with only 4 or 5 victories for the season. So, yes.
So, good luck to them and good luck to all Big 8 schools as they go through district play. But first things first, it's week 9 here at Burl Fowler. Leonard and I will slip away, hear from some of our sponsors. And when we come back, we'll take a closer look at the Cubs and the Tigers here in week number 9. Back after this timeout.
Commanding the team and presenting the national flag is Cadet Major Lindsey Butler. Presenting the Missouri State flag is Cadet Sergeant Major Haley Wilkinson. Carrying the national rifle is Cadet Staff Sergeant Yatziri Reyes. And carrying the state rifle is Cadet Sergeant Pete Masry. remain standing as we honor America, all those who have served or are currently serving our great nation, with the playing of the national anthem being performed by the Monett Prime Band under the direction of Philip Soule and assisted by Todd Borgman and Alyssa Wren.
This game brought to you in part by Quick Draw Gun, with hundreds of new and used firearms in stock. Quick Draw Gun is located just off Highway 60 in Monett at 601 South Kyler. Tonight's opening kickoff will be sponsored by Home Shield Pest Control. With over 20 years of industry experience, Home Shield Pest Control can tackle any unwanted insect or pest with an affordable, safe, and effective method. Be sure to call Daniel Vineyard at 772-4177. The first quarter of tonight's game will be brought to you by Crown Double K Realty. When you want to buy or sell a home in the Monett area, rely on someone you've known and trusted for years. Be sure to call Whitey Metlock at Crown Double K Realty, just west of Taco Bell on Highway 60 and Kyler. Later tonight, Leonard and I will be selecting our players of the game. You know, I might as well say players of the game. We have such a difficult time narrowing it down just to one.
Are you saying we're wishy-washy?
We just have lots of good choices to
We
pick
do.
from. That will be sponsored by Crowder College in Neosho. With over 50 years of successful graduates, Crowder College is committed to academic excellence. Crowder College, where you are the difference. Well, Leonard, here we are. The season has just flown by once again. And here we are in week 9, a Cubs team that started the season 1-2, and they've ripped off a number of wins in a row now, 5 in a row. But this is a team like Mount Vernon with a little bit of luck. They could have been undefeated as well.
They very well could have. And, you know, we started 9 weeks ago with a lot of questions, and as we've observed this team through the season, many of those questions have been answered in a positive way. And, you know, we talked about the fact that there are 2 very important players who are out tonight, but if they can get back healthy, I'm really looking forward to district play. I think it's going to be some exciting football. I felt like the Cubs were as good as Cassville, even though they lost to Cassville. I felt like they really looked better than Mount Vernon, even though they lost to Mount Vernon.
Yep.
So you know, they may lose to Hollister in the first round, but I just feel like that they're going to get their chance for, you know, to rectify the situation with Cassville and Mount Vernon.
Absolutely. And, you know, we've talked about the 3-headed monster that Monett's had with their running backs, and Umfleet out tonight. But Brandon Majors, as you mentioned, has filled such a big void this year. And he came in and started slowly, but as of late has been running really well. And he's approaching 800 yards on the season now. He's at 779. And with a couple of good weeks, he could eclipse 1,000 yards this year.
I wouldn't be at all surprised if he did do that. If, you know, if the Cubs get to play 3 more games, I would almost guarantee that he will do that.
And then there's Jamie Gwynn, who's rushed the ball 60 times this year, but he's at 598. He's averaging a cool 10 yards per carry.
And that's down from last year when he averaged 11 yards per carry. But Jamie started slowly. People knew about him and were waiting for him on those wide runs, but he's come on late and had some really big games, and he's a potent weapon for the Cubs.
And, you know, you wonder if tonight if Gunnar Bradley's going to get a bigger look, too. Gunnar on the year has just run the ball 8 times, but he's averaged 8 yards a carry. And with Ethan out, Gunnar may be the guy who steps in there, but we'll have to wait and see for sure on that. Carter Brink, though, he's the guy who really turns the key over to get the engine started. He's got 213 yards rushing on the year. He's passed for nearly 800 yards and 7 touchdowns. He's just been a solid performer.
He really has. He's an important cog in that Monett offensive wheel. You know, we talk about future prospects. You have to remember with a couple of crucial injuries, the whole thing could change too. I think especially with Junior Cavazos injured, the backup quarterback, Carter Brink, if he gets injured, the Cubs are really in dire straits. They would have to drop back to a freshman quarterback. You know, Brandon Majors and some of those linemen, the Merriman brothers and Ray Vialta.
Yeah.
Man, if some of those people got hurt, the situation would change drastically.
And, you know, we probably don't spend enough time talking about those guys up front.
We
you
don't.
know.
I plead guilty to that.
And they do such a great job. The offensive and defensive line this year, almost to the game, have been dominant forces. That offensive line has done a great job protecting Brink when he's wanted to throw. They've created lanes for the runners. And on defense, it seems like they're constantly in the backfield of the opponent.
Yes, they've just been a tower of strength for this team. And you're right, we don't give them enough credit. We need to mention their names more. But, you know, it's typical to mention the name of the tackler or the ball carrier. But it may be that because this linebacker made the tackle, that some defensive lineman up ahead occupied 2 blockers so that he could, you know. So.
Yeah, you talk about guys like Larry Gutierrez and Ray Vialta, Harrison Merriman and Wes Merriman, Tickner in there, Butterworth. And those names, those guys have been just a stable influence on both sides of the line of scrimmage. So, you know, you try to congratulate them as well, because you and I have been around this sport long enough. It all starts up front.
Right. If you can't handle the line of scrimmage, you're probably not going to win a football game. So.
Now, on the other side, the Nevada Tigers came into the season a very young team. They graduated a number of seniors a year ago. They've got young kids that are seeing some playing time. It appears that they're junior dominated when you take a look at their starting offense and starting defense. It's even sprinkled with a freshman in there on the defensive line, a sophomore center. You know, so they're a young team, and being 0-8, you know, that's partly youth, and hopefully, you know, if you're a Tiger fan, you'll see rewards coming down for playing all these young kids. And they're under the guidance of Coach Wes Beechler, who has been in various schools. He was at one time at Republic before he was at Nevada, went to Republic, went back to Nevada.
He's had a lot of success through his career, and this has got to be a shock to him to have a team that hasn't won a game. Two of the players on his team are his sons also, I think. So
I think so. He's got a son who's starting at quarterback, and Dylan is a 140-pound junior, and while the Cubs come in as a favorite, they can't overlook this squad. Coach Beechler has had success everywhere he's gone. I'm sure he'll have success again. But tonight they come in losers of the last 14. In fact, their last win was September 14th of a year ago when they beat East Newton 64-20. This year, East Newton got them for the victory. Leonard, a chilly night tonight, but a dry night, knock on wood, that the weather stays away. Wind blowing out of the northeast at about 10 to 15 miles per hour. But a good night for the players. It's just a chilly night for the fans as the captains head to midfield at this point.
Those captains are Larry Gutierrez, Carter Brink, Jamie Gwynn, and Cole McCullough. So those are the four captains for the game tonight. And Benji, that wind is uncomfortable for the fans, but it's brisk enough. It's going to affect the football some, especially on punts and maybe on long passes. So the kickers and the quarterbacks and the people receiving punts are going to have to take that wind into consideration. It's going to do things with the football as strong as it is.
Yeah, and it's blowing more out of the north than it is the east at this point.
Yeah, it looks like the flag is, a little bit blowing to the southwest, but mainly to the south. So.
And temperatures right now, right at 50, but it feels like 42 at this point with the wind blowing out of the northeast as we approach kickoff here. As we get ready here, Monett will receive, I believe. We'll see here. They won the toss. They will receive and defend the south goal. Nevada will kick off going left to right, and they'll have the wind at their back. Nevada in their traveling white jerseys and maroon pants. Monett in their home purple jerseys trimmed in gold and white. The traditional M on one side of the helmet and numerals on the other. As we approach kickoff here, it's, as always, brought to you by Home Shield Pest Control. With over 20 years of experience, they can tackle any unwanted insect with an affordable, safe, and effective method. Be sure to call Daniel Vineyard at 772-4177. The Cubs take the field.
Do you have a scoring sheet?
You know
for
what?
me,
I
by
do
the
need
way?
to give you a scoring sheet. I'm assuming
I have a feeling we're going to score a few points tonight.
somebody's going to score for sure. So I will definitely give you that.
Thank you.
And I'm very superstitious this time of year. I make enough score sheets to take us through the state championship, Leonard. So I've got enough there to get us a few ball games down the road.
I hope your foresight is rewarded.
Thank you. Cubs on the field going back deep will be Gwynn, and he will be flanked by Miles Lanning. So there's a first indication of someone replacing Umfleet. Miles Lanning comes in. Ball being teed up at the 40 by the Tigers, and we're just seconds away from action here. Glad to have you along here from Burrow Fowler Stadium. Benji Finsky, along with Leonard Bauer and Ryan Dasso. Week 9 just seconds away here. Ball being teed up by Wesley Balk, offensive lineman and linebacker, as he'll kick it away, the right-footed kicker. Waiting for the ready-to-play signal, and here we go. The kickoff is in the air. It's an end-over-end kick back over the head of Miles Lanning into the end zone, and it'll be a touchback. And Leonard, already we saw the effect of the wind on that kick.
Yes, that was a fine kick, but without the aid of the wind, it never would have gotten to the end zone. So the Cubs start out with rather poor field position at their own 20, but if their offense is clicking the way it has been, that shouldn't be too great a deterrent for them.
Reminder that the first quarter brought to you by Crown Double K Realty in Monett. 1st and 10 Cubs as Brink will work under center. He takes a snap and gives to Majors, who breaks a couple of tackles. He's in the backfield to the 30, 40, 50. Down the left sideline he goes to the 30, 20, 10, 5. Touchdown Cubs. There are no flags, and just like that, Brandon Majors goes 80 yards for the score.
Jamie Gwynn hustled his head off to get in front of the defender who was chasing Majors, got in his way, so there was no chance of him bringing him down at the 2 or 3 yard line. So give Jamie credit. All he did was just run and get in front of the defender chasing him, and that kept Brandon on target for the 80-yard score.
Just 14 seconds into the game, the Cubs lead at 6-0. The PAT on its way. It's high enough, it's long enough, and it is good. 11:46 left first quarter. Monett on top 7-0, and that touchdown brought to you by the law offices of Randall, Mastery, and Randall. If you need an extra point or two from a trusted lawyer, be sure to call them at 235-8688. The extra point brought to you by Monett Glass and Mirror. If your kitchen window looks like it's been hit by an errant pass, call Monett Glass and Mirror, where if it shatters, it matters. Well, Leonard, if anybody asks you how long it takes Brandon Majors to run 80 yards, it's about 14 seconds.
Right. He was running for his life, but he did a great job of bouncing off. He was hit about 4 yards past the line of scrimmage, and he bounced off that tackler and found a little daylight and showed some speed, but he would have been caught, I think, if Jamie Gwynn had not hustled down and made the final block to spring him into the end zone.
You know, that's a couple of times this year where Monett has struck early. A kickoff return down in Seneca on the game's opening kick, and then this one on the first play from scrimmage. Salas to kick it away into the wind. High end over end kick that comes down at the 16 and is scooped up at about the 19. Good coverage from the Cubs there. Little or no return as the Tigers will set it up at the 20.
A wave of Cubs in on that tackle there. The Nevada receiver made the mistake of letting the ball bounce instead of taking it in the air. And once he picked it up, the Cubs were all over him. So works about the same as a touchback. Nevada will put it in play, 1st and 10 at the 20, their own 20.
Quarterback is Dylan Beechler. And the Tigers come out in a bunch formation. Beechler will work out of the shotgun. He takes the snap and gives on an inside handoff coming near side. That's Colby O'Connell, and O'Connell's wrapped up after a gain of maybe a couple.
Cole McCullough on the stop for the Cubs. Gain of 2, 2nd and 8.
And you look out there, McCullough as a defensive back, so he's in.
He's in Cavazos' place, it looks like.
It looks like Trayvon Price is on the other side. 2nd down and 8 for the Tigers. Beechler hands off to his tailback, who swarmed under in the backfield, and he'll be thrown for a loss.
Ray Vialta, the leader of that gang that made that tackle, he had some help, but Ray's the one that made first contact and tackled the ball carrier for almost a 3-yard loss. It's going to bring up 3rd and 11 for Nevada.
So Colby O'Connell's ran it twice, gained 2 on the first, lost 3 on his second attempt, and the Tigers face 3rd down and 11. Wide receiver split left and right. Out of the shotgun, Beechler takes the snap. He'll call his own number and is able to plunge forward for a gain of yard, but it'll be 4th down and 10.
Cavazos again, or not Cavazos, I mean Ray Villalta again on the stop with some help from Tanner Wright. It's going to bring up 4th down and a punting situation for the Tigers.
Dylan Lynch and Miles Lanning back deep for the Cubs, standing near midfield. Snap is a high one, corralled, and the kick away is a low line drive kick. Takes a Tigers bounce as it bounds out of bounds near the 50. It will be marked right at the 50-yard line, so a 30-yard punt, no return.
So it took the Cubs 14 seconds to go 80 yards. Let's see how long it takes them to go 50.
Well, hopefully they'll find pay dirt again. Their initial drive was a one-play 80-yard run from Brandon Majors. The Cubs lead 7-0 here with 9:51 left in the first quarter. Brink to the line of scrimmage. He'll set the front. Motion behind him. He gives on a jet sweep, and that's Gunnar Bradley. Bradley sidesteps one tackler and is able to dive forward for a gain of 6 yards. It'll bring up 2nd down and 4.
Number 10, Colby O'Connell. And number 35, that's Riley Trotter on the stop for the Tigers. As you say, a gain of 6, 2nd and 4 for the Cubs.
And Leonard, you were spot on saying that Gunnar would see more action here tonight. He got a carry very early here. Here's a pitch to Gwynn running right side. Breaks a tackle to the 40, 35, 30, and is tripped up down near the 25.
A touchdown saving tackle by J.D. Downing for the Tigers, but a big gain by Jamie and a 1st and 10 for the Cubs. At the Tigers 20, they moved it back a yard. They had it at the 26, moved it back to the 27s.
Gain of 17 yards and a 1st down. That 1st down brought to you by Crown Power and Equipment north of Monett on H Highway. Here's a pitch to Gwynn, right side to the 25, 20 to the 15, and struggling forward inside the 10 for another 1st down.
Finally knocked out of bounds there. Trying to get the number of the tackler. I'm still not sure of the tackler, but anyway, a big gain for Jamie and a 1st and 10 for the Cubs. It's going to be 1st and goal, I guess, with the ball at the 10-yard line.
Back-to-back 17-yard runs from Gwynn have the Cubs knocking on the door again. Brink takes the snap. He'll pitch it to Gwynn, right side, inside the 10, breaks a tackle, down to the goal line, and he is in for the score.
Jamie was hit at about the 4-yard line and hit again at the 3, and he just kept the legs churning and managed to get the ball into the end zone.
A 10-yard scoring run from Jamie Gwynn at the 8:40 mark, and the Cubs lead at 13-0. And you're right, Leonard, he was hit around the 4-yard line and just continued to struggle forward until he found pay dirt. Alex Salas on to attempt the PAT out of the hold of Carter Brink. Snap back, ball down, the kick up. It's high enough, it's long enough, and it is good. That touchdown brought to you by the law offices of Randall, Mastery, and Randall. If you need an extra point or two from a trusted lawyer, be sure to call them at 235-8688, serving the Lawrence, Berry, and Stone County regions. The extra point was brought to you by Monett Glass and Mirror. If your kitchen window looked like it's been hit by a middle linebacker, or your car windshield was just cracked by an errant pass, be sure to call Monett Glass and Mirror, where if it shatters, it matters. Well, Leonard, Cubs, very businesslike, workmanlike. They're 2 really efficient drives.
One could have not asked for a more efficient start and successful start of the game for the Cubs. Once again, they'll kick the ball back to the Tigers. See if the Tigers can move it. The last series, the Tigers gained no yardage in 3 attempts and had to punt it away.
Salas tees it up at the 40. He's kicking into a breeze that's actually getting a little bit stiffer as we go along here in the first quarter. High end over end kick that comes down at the 19. It's fumbled. It's on the turf. I believe the Tigers got it back. The Cubs had a chance, Leonard, to get that, but the Tigers did get it back at about the 27.
Yes, number 8, Nate Irvin, had a good chance at the ball but couldn't quite corral it, but it bounced right up to him almost, and looked like the Cubs might recover it, but the Tigers got it back. So 1st and 10 for the Tigers from their own 27.
So here comes Nevada on their second set of downs. Come up with a double tight end look. Beechler will work out of the shotgun. He takes the snap and gives on an inside handoff. As a new wrinkle there, I'll check that number very quick. That was Case Sanderson. Sanderson with a run out near the 30 for a gain of 3.
For the Cubs, Cole Davis on the stop. A gain of a couple. 2nd and a short 8 for the Tigers.
Ball resting at the 30. Beechler takes the snap, back to pass, has time. The ball is intercepted at the 35. The return inside the 25, an interception by Corbin McCulley.
McCulley was tackled by Jace Lee and Riley Trotter, but it is a turnover to the Cubs, and the Cubs will be in tremendous field position. They'll have 1st and 10 from the Nevada 23.
And turnovers, when you're setting at 0 and 8, they just are multiplied because the field shortens so much. Brink will take the snap, back to pass, throws right side, ball caught inside the 10, down near the 5. Caught by Dylan Lynch, I believe. Lynch with a good reception and another 1st down.
Riley Trotter on the stop for the Tigers, but not until the Cubs have advanced the ball to about the 7-yard line. 1st and goal from the Nevada 7.
16-yard gain, and the Cubs have their 4th 1st down of the quarter. 7.5 minutes left here in the 1st quarter. The Cubs already on top, 14-0, and they have it 1st and goal from the 7. Brink under center, takes the snap, looking to throw.
Trevon Price, get your 1st touchdown. He caught it, but it was out of bounds.
Well, I was going to let you make that call, Leonard, since you wanted Trayvon to get the touchdown so much.
Touchdown, and Coach Yule was thinking the same thing, and he would have had it, except it carried a little too far, and when he caught it, he was out of bounds.
You know, really a well-thrown ball, however, because the only person who could have got to it was Trayvon.
Right.
And that was basically thrown to the back pylon, and Trayvon made the catch but could not get a foot down in time. 2nd down and goal from the 7 as the play comes in from the sideline. Wide receiver split wide to the left is Arnold Cavazos. Now he'll flip sides of the field and go wide to the right. Wishbone look behind the quarterback, Brink, who turns and gives to Gwynn. Running up the middle, Jamie is into the end zone for the touchdown. Jamie Gwynn from 7 yards out, and the Cubs lead it 20-0. Gwynn already with 51 yards and 2 scores. And the Cubs on top 20-0 at 7:14 mark of the 1st quarter. And Salas back in to attempt his 3rd PAT of the quarter. Snap back, ball down, the kick up. It's high enough, it's long enough, and it is good. 7:14 left here in the 1st quarter. Cubs lead at 21-0, and a reminder that the 1st quarter of tonight's game is being brought to you by Crown Double K Realty. When you want to buy or sell a home in the Monett area, rely on someone you've known and trusted for years. Call Whitey Metlock at Crown Double K Realty just west of Taco Bell on Highway 60 in Kyler. The Cubs already have made 3 visits to the JMB Red Zone. The Red Zone sponsored all year long by JMB Trucking Company of Cassville. When you need to deliver results like the Cubs are tonight, call JMB Trucking at 847-1307. Well, Leonard, this one's getting ugly early. and the Cubs have taken advantage of some big plays and a turnover to build a big early lead. Salas to kick it away. High end over end kick that comes down at the 19. Return set up the middle to 25 to the 30 and out to the 35. A nice return there by the Tigers as Trey Moore able to get a 16-yard return. And Nevada has it 1st and 10.
Stuart Welch is in on the stop there. Gunnar Bradley got a hand on the ball carrier and slowed him down a little bit, but couldn't bring him down. Then Weltis and a couple friends finally brought him down at the 35, but good field position for the Tigers.
As they come out, they'll have a double tight end look. Beechler will work out of the shotgun, and he'll give on an inside handoff to O'Connell running left. He's wrapped up as he gets to the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play. It'll bring up 2nd down and 10.
Cole Davis and Junior Villa, along with a couple other Cubs on that stop. No gain, 2nd and 10.
Here come the Tigers, the line of scrimmage. The clock rolls with 6:40 left here in the first quarter. The junior quarterback, Dylan Beechler, out of the shotgun, takes the snap, and he'll give on a dive play up the middle it goes, and the Cubs defense tough again as they wrap up the ball carrier for little or no gain.
Harrison Merriman on the stop. Harrison is a 6'5", 255-pound sophomore.
3rd down, 10 for the Tigers from the 35. Beechler gets a low snap, again hands up the middle, a broken tackle, a 1st down and more, and their best play of the night as Colby O'Connell rumbles for nearly 20.
He should have been tackled for a little gain, but he broke through that tackle, and if Trayvon Price had not corralled him at the Cub 45, he would have scored. So a big play for the Tigers to give them a little bit of momentum. 1st and 10, and their first venture into Cub territory. 1st and 10 at the Cub 45.
Yeah, that play looked like it was going to be blown up from the beginning,
Right.
but O'Connell with a good hard run was able to break some tackles and gain 20. 1st and 10, Tigers from the Cub 45. Beechler takes the snap, gives on a dive play up the middle it goes, and this time the Cubs able to wrap up the back. Well, finally bring him down after a gain of 1 or 2, and now a late flag comes out.
I'm not sure what happened there. It looked like he was down, but then they kept playing, and let's see what the call is going to be.
Yeah, it was a very late flag.
Forward progress had definitely started, and then the ball carrier squirted out, and they're going to call a personal foul against the Cubs, and I'm not sure why, but it's going to set the Tigers up fairly deep in Cub territory with the 1st and 10.
It was a gain of 2, and then you can tack on 15 yards after the play. And just like that, Nevada has their 2nd first down of the drive, and they'll set it up 1st and 10 from the Cub 27-yard line. Beechler out of the shotgun, sets the front, takes the snap, and will hand on the ball to O'Connell again. Nothing fancy from the Tigers. O'Connell able to stumble forward for a gain of a yard. It'll bring up 2nd down and 9.
Cole Davis on the stop for the Cubs. The Cubs have been lining up in a 4-man front. When they think the other team is going to run the ball, they usually go with a 4-man front. If they think it's going to be a passing situation, oftentimes they go with a 3-man front.
And they're in a 4-man front again here on 2nd down and 9. Beechler back to pass, throws over the middle, has a reception for a short gain there as the wide receiver Sanderson able to come up with a catch.
Good pass and a good catch, but a short gain for the Tigers. And I couldn't see for sure who made that tackle.
I believe it was Trayvon that
It was out in Trayvon's area, but I couldn't see for sure if he made the tackle. 3rd and 4 for the Tigers. So the Tigers are moving the ball.
Ball resting at the Cub 21. Beechler takes the snap, gives to Sanderson on an inside handoff, and Sanderson knocked down close to the first down, and he could have very well picked up a first down. He did after a gain of 4.
Nice looking play on the part of the Tigers. And again, I couldn't see the number. I think it was probably Junior Villa or Cole Davis, one of the linebackers that made the tackle. But as they unpiled, I couldn't get the number of the tackler. But the Tigers definitely have a good drive going here. 1st and 10 now from the Cubs 16-yard line.
Clock rolls with 3.5 minutes left here in the first quarter. Beechler stands at the 20 as he gets the snap and will give on the inside handoff to O'Connell. And O'Connell surges down to about the 15. And it will be a short gain, if any. It'll be 2nd down and long.
Cole Davis and Corbin McCulley on the stop. I say no gain on the play, it looks like, so it's going to be 2nd and 10.
Well, thus far, 3 guys have run the ball for the Tigers, and their feature back has been Kobe O'Connell. 8 carries thus far for 22 yards. Beechler drying his hands on a towel. Takes a snap, and will call his own number. Now he'll throw it, has a man wide open, and he drops the ball at the 10-yard line. The pass intended for Trey Moore, and Moore unable to come up with it.
That was a good pass by Beechler. The ball was right in Moore's hands, and if he had caught it, he would have maybe had a chance to pick up the first for the Tigers, but it's cold out there, and it dropped out of his hands. It's going to bring up 3rd and 10, but that was a good-looking play by the Tigers, and a good throw by quarterback Beechler.
Yeah, Beechler running to his left was able to really put it right on the money. Beechler again out of the shotgun, will keep it himself running left, has some room, and then is wrapped up after a gain of maybe 3 or 4, and he'll bring up 4th down for the Nevada Tigers.
Gunnar Bradley and Cole Davis on the stop. A positive gain on the play, but brings up 4th down and still about 7 to go for the Tigers.
The nose of the football resting at the Cub 13-yard line, and the Tigers need to get down just outside the 6. 4th down, we'll call it 4th and a short 7. Tigers come out with 2 receivers to the left. Tailback to the left of Beechler. He'll take the snap. He'll keep it himself running left. A flag comes out here. Beechler has the first down, but I have a feeling this one's coming back, Leonard. Those flags thrown usually signify holding on the offense.
You're right, and you're right. Official just affirmed what you said. But good-looking play on the part. All of a sudden, the Nevada offense has woke up, and they're moving the ball with consistency, but that holding penalty is going to deny them that what would have been a 1st and 10 inside the Cub 5-yard line.
Yeah, Beechler got all the way down to about the 2 before he was wrapped up. But this penalty, a 10-yard holding penalty, will move the Tigers back to the 27, and they'll face 4th down and about 21. And this is a team primarily keeping it on the ground. It's 4th and 21 is a big obstacle. We'll see what they come up with. Beechler will work out of the shotgun. He takes the snap, back to pass. He rolls right, flips it right, has a man open, Sanderson, and Sanderson's pushed out of bounds at about the 10. A nice game, but it'll be short of the first down.
Cole McCullough on the defensive play there, pushing Sanderson out of bounds, and the ball will go over to the Cubs since it was 4th down and long. They picked up good yardage, but not enough for the first, so the Cubs defense has held.
That was a gain of 16 on 4th and 21. The Cubs have stopped the Tigers, and they take over 1st and 10 at their own 11 with 1:26 left here in the first quarter. Brink will take the snap. He'll hand on a dive play to Majors, and Majors rumbles out near the 20. That'll be good for a 9-yard gain.
Brought down there finally by number 15. That's Trey Moore. But good gain for the Cubs. Gain of 9 is going to bring up 2nd and 1.
Well, if the first quarter is any indication, the only defense or the only team that'll stop the Cubs may be the Cubs, because they've had a lot of success here early. Brink under center turns and gives to Majors, who will have the first down and more. Brandon all the way out to the 29, and that'll be a gain of 9 more.
Once again, Trey Moore on the stop along with number 81, and that is Noah Beshore. But significant gain for Brandon and a 1st and 10 for the Cubs at their own 29.
First down brought to you by Crown Power and Equipment north of Monett on H Highway, Southwest Missouri's Case IH dealer. Brink back to pass, throws right side, has Arnold Cavazos with a catch, and Arnold able to get out to about the 36-yard line for a gain of 7.
Brought down by number 24, that's Jace Lee for the Tigers. Good play, good pass, good catch, gain of 6, 2nd and a short 4 for the Cubs.
And that will take us to the end of the first quarter. Our score after 1, Monett 21, Nevada nothing. We'll be back with more action after this timeout. Back at Burrow Fowler, 12 minutes on the clock. We're ready for the second quarter, brought to you by Cox Health Monett. Brink will run the option left side. He has loads of room out to the 40 to the 45, and the Cubs will have a first down after a gain of about 10 yards for Carter Brink.
Benji, it dawned on me that we haven't mentioned the Cubs center all year hardly. Number 58, Christian Selvey, is a 6'2", 225-pound junior, and he's been very solid all year long. And I happened to watch him on that play, and he did a tremendous job of blocking. So we need to mention Christian's name. We've mentioned the other lineman, but he's kind of slipped through the cracks.
He sure has, and he's done a great job. Here's a throw for Miles Lanning that goes through his hands. That time Brink kind of led him too much as Miles kind of hooked up and the ball went further down the field. The incompletion will bring up 2nd down and 10.
Cade Beshore was there on the defense for the Tigers. I think it was a miscommunication. I think Carter thought he was going to keep going, and the receiver did a sort of a button hook, and the ball was thrown beyond him then.
You're absolutely right. That's exactly what it was, and the incompletion brings up 2nd down for the Cubs from their own 46-yard line. Carter Brink takes the snap. He looking to throw, and this one's picked off by the Tigers.
Great play by number 4, Cade Beshore. It was the same play that the Cubs had completed earlier to Arnold Cavazos, but this time Beshore knifed in front of it with a great diving catch for the Tigers, and the ball goes over to Seneca. 1st and 10 from midfield.
So the Nevada Tigers come up with a big play here to stop Monett's drive. Cubs might come back with a stop-and-go pass if they're going to jump routes like that.
Right.
1st and 10 Nevada. Here's a handoff to Kobe O'Connell. And O'Connell is knocked down behind the line of scrimmage. The Cubs defense really penetrating the line of scrimmage. A loss of 1, and it'll bring up 2nd down and 11.
Good drag down there by Tanner Wright. Loss of 1, 2nd and 11, as you point out.
You know, there's another kid who's played really well, Tanner Wright.
He really has. He's a 6'1", 225-pound junior, and he has been really solid at that left defensive end.
Second down and 11 for the Tigers. Clock rolls with 10:45 left here in the second quarter. Beechler out of the shotgun takes the snap. He'll roll to the right under pressure. He's hit.
And
he throws it away at the last minute. He did have an intended receiver out there as Jace Lee was on the right wing. And Beechler is slow to get up.
Tanner Wright again all over Beechler, and Beechler had to throw it away to avoid the sack. And he threw it in an area so it would not be intentional grounding. But Tanner went ahead and brought him down in the course of the play. And looks like Beechler is going to be slow getting up. Nothing, dirty or anything about the tackle. It's just that Tanner was putting pressure on him and did bring him down. And he was sort of helpless in a throwing motion when he was hit. He couldn't really protect himself. Sometimes the quarterback, when they're trying to throw the ball, are wide open for a hit, and they can't protect themselves. And that was the situation there.
Beechler still not off the field. He is standing up and now being helped to the sideline.
Looks like he's a little woozy, maybe.
I think so. And now we'll have to see who the backup quarterback is for the Tigers as Beechler does get to the east sideline.
Looks like number 12.
Yeah, it'll be 12, and that is Case Sanderson, who, by the way, is a freshman. So freshman quarterback coming in.
What a thrill for a freshman to go against this Monett defense.
Yeah, third down and 11 from the 49. Sanderson, a lefty, throws it to the right side and overshoots his intended receiver. And Sanderson wanted to get that. It looked like a hot potato. Yes. Went back to him. He got rid of it as quick as he could, and the incompletion will bring up fourth down.
Cubs had 4 defenders in the area, but the pass was over the receiver and the defenders. Brings up a punting situation for the Tigers.
Matthew Thorpe coming in to kick it away. Thorpe, a senior for the Tigers, standing at his own 36. Snap back is a good one. Kick away, angled to the right side. It takes a Tiger bounce back towards the middle of the field, and it'll come to rest inside the 25-yard line. So a punt that measures 23 yards, no return, and the Cubs will take over. Cubs, their last drive ended with an interception. We'll see what they offer up here on 1st and 10. Brink will work out. He'll work under center. Wide receiver split left and right. Brink will hand on a dive play to Majors, and Majors pounds out near the 30. They'll mark him down at the 29 for a gain of 6.
Number 64, Omar Vargas, in on the stop for the Tigers. A gain of, it's between 6 and 7. It's a long 6 or a short 7.
Second down, and we'll call it second and a short 4. Again, receiver split left and right. Brink brings motion and will run the option, flips it to Gwynn with room to the 35, to the 40, to 45, and then finally pushed out of bounds near midfield. First down, Cubs.
Number 25, that is Ethan Fortner on the push out for the Tigers. But Jamie got outside in the corner, and he turns that good speed on, and it's a big gain. But is there a flag on the play?
There is not.
Oh, okay.
First down brought to you by Crown Power and Equipment, north of Monett on H Highway. Meet the factory-trained pros of Crown Power. Go ahead.
First and 10 for the Cubs from midfield. Jamie must have stepped out before where the play seemed to end, but
gained 21, and he's up to 72 yards on the night. Here is misdirection and a handoff running left side. It'll be a Cub first down, and that was Kai Bassard with a run as he'll pick up about 13 yards.
a lot of deception on that play, and Kai was the benefactor of it. And a good gain on the play. It's going to bring up 1st and 10 for the Cubs from the Tigers' 37-yard line.
I'm going to predict that my stat sheet will look awful by the end of the night. There's going to be a lot of guys running the ball tonight. 1st and 10 Cubs from the 37. And Carter takes the snap, loses the ball, but gets it back and then is swarmed under at the 37. It'll be a loss of a yard. Bring up 2nd down.
Will Summers and Tyler Vance and Riley Trotter were all there on Carter Brink, and a loss on the play.
Actually, they'll give him.
They put it to the line of scrimmage,
Yeah,
I guess,
did.
didn't they? I thought he had lost yardage, but
I did too, but they marked him at the 37, so Cubs avoid a turnover. They avoid a loss on the play. 2nd down and 10. The clock rolls with 8.5 minutes left here in the 2nd quarter. The Cubs on top 21-0. Here's a handoff to Majors, and Majors this time is greeted rudely at the line of scrimmage, wrapped up after a gain of just 2 yards.
Jace Lee on the tackle. Going to bring up 3rd and 8 for the Cubs. First time tonight almost that they've had 3rd and long. We'll see what they do with it.
I tell you what, I think Trayvon Price is about due here. We'll see what he does here.
He's out here.
He split wide to the right. Brink will give to Majors instead, and Majors carries about 3 Tigers for a 1st down ride.
Finally brought down by a pride of Tigers.
Good one. Good one.
It takes about 4 or 5 to slow Brandon down and then finally get him stopped. And a great run by Majors again. And 1st and 10 for the Cubs at the Tigers' 26-yard line.
Majors up to 115 yards on just 6 carries. 1st and 10 Monett from the 26. Here's a pitch to Bouchard running left, and he is hit and knocked down behind the line of scrimmage. He was looking for a hole and never found one, and it'll be 2nd down and long for Monett.
He was brought down rudely by well, I'm still not sure of the number. Noah Be Sure, it was 81, yes.
Good tackle for a loss of a yard. 2nd down and 11 for the Cubs. They'll come up with 2 receivers to the right side. Brink will give on a jet sweep to Gwynn. Gwynn to the 25, breaks a tackle to the 20, and then steps out near the 15, but that should be enough for a Cub 1st down.
Wesley Balk, the one that finally pushed Jamie out of bounds, but again, a 1st and 10 for the Cubs, and the ball now spotted at the Nevada 15-yard line.
That 1st down brought to you by Crown Power and Equipment north of Monett on H Highway. Just a reminder that the 2nd quarter brought to you by Cox Health Monett, the official sports medicine provider of Monett High School athletics. 1st and 10 Cubs. Here's Brink. He'll call his own number to the 10 and dives down to about the 8. That'll be good for a gain of 7.
He was tripped up by Case Sanderson, but fell forward, and a good gain on the play for Carter of about 7 yards. 2nd and 3 for the Cubs.
Just a reminder, this game being sponsored in part by Quick Draw Gun, featuring Quick Draw Laser, custom laser engraving and marking right here in Monett. Call 354-8633 for more information. 2nd down and 3 from the 8. Brink will give to Gunnar Bradley, and Bradley is surging forward near the 5. It may be enough for another Cub 1st down.
Gunnar was brought down by Will Summers and Michael Culpepper, but not until he had gained another 1st for the Cubs. It's going to be 1st and goal from the Tiger 5-yard line.
The Cubs with 11 1st downs already, and I believe this is a team that averages 18 1st downs a ball game. They're already at 11. 1st and goal from the 5. Brink will take the snap, looking to throw, has a man.
All
touchdown,
right.
Dylan Lynch.
Good, I'm glad Dylan got a touchdown.
Lynch scores from 5 yards out. His second catch of the night and his first score of the evening. Carter Brink now 3 of 6 passing for 28 yards and a score. The Cubs lead at 27-0. Alex Salas on to attempt the PAT. Snap back, ball down, the kick up. It's high enough, it's long enough, and it is good. 5:35 left, second quarter action. Monett leads at 28-0, and that touchdown brought to you by the law offices of Randall Mastery and Randall. If you need an extra point or two from a trusted lawyer, call Randall Mastery and Randall at 235-8688. The extra point sponsored by Monett Glass and Mirror. If your windshield was just cracked by a kick, call Monett Glass and Mirror, where if it shatters, it matters. You know, Leonard, we're passing out kudos tonight to a lot of kids, and we talk about Carter Brink a lot as the quarterback, but man, he does a great job handling snaps too. He has been a tremendous placeholder, not just this year, but for quite a while.
Right, and people don't understand how important the long snapper and the holder are on field goals and extra point attempts.
Cubs lead at 28-0 with 5.5 minutes left here in the second quarter. Salas to kick with the wind at his back this time, and he hits a line drive kick that is scooped up at the 5, returned to the 10, to the 15, out near the 20. A broken tackle there, but then the Cubs able to converge on Jace Lee, who picked up about 15 yards on that return. It will be 1st and 10 Tigers from the 20.
Gunnar Bradley and Corbin McCulley on the stop at that point. So it's going to be 1st and 10 for the Tigers from their own 20.
And we'll see who's in at quarterback. Beechler was hurt on the last drive, and Case Sanderson came in.
Sanderson looks like it's going to be the quarterback again.
Yeah. I believe Beechler's over on the sideline, on the bench over there.
So, yeah, I believe he is. I think you're right. I think he may have had a slight concussion.
Yeah, the way he was going off the field, it sure looked like that. A low snap handled by the quarterback. He hands to O'Connell, who stood up in the backfield. Be a loss of a couple will bring up 2nd down and long.
Junior Villa on the stop for the Cubs. Loss of a couple on the play, 2nd and 12. It's so hard to run wide on Monett. They have such a good lateral speed, or speed on the outside.
Yeah, it is, and they get several guys to the ball as well. 2nd down and 12. Sanderson out of the shotgun will hand to O'Connell again, and he is just swarmed under once again, and there'll be another loss on the play.
Ray Vialta, one of the two there, and Tanner Wright, the other. Combine on that tackle for a loss. It's going to bring up 3rd and 14 for the Tigers.
And right now, Nevada facing an uphill battle, down by 4 scores. Freshman quarterback in as Case Sanderson in there, 160-pound freshman, according to the roster provided us. 3rd down and 14. Sanderson back to pass. He has absolutely no chance. Down he goes back inside the 10.
Swarmed under by Alex Salas and Gunnar Bradley.
A loss from the 16 down to the 9, so a loss of 7 on the play. And it'll be 4th and long in a punting situation for the Nevada Tigers. And these Cub return guys are about 15 yards too deep, Leonard. I'm telling you, into that wind.
I think you're right.
Line of scrimmage is the 9. The kick away is a low line drive kick that angles to the right side and now rolls out near midfield to the 47. And that'll be a 38-yard punt with no return.
A very effective punt into that wind. It stayed low and actually didn't get up into the wind. It could have been fielded by the Cub receiver, but he decided to play it safe and let it roll and not take a chance.
You know, if Gwynn gets 16 yards in this drive, the Cubs will have 2 runners over 100 yards in the first half.
That's not shabby. That's
No,
good.
that is good. 1st and 10, Cubs from the Tiger 47. Here's Brink back to pass. He's got a guy wide open down the middle if he can get him the ball. He throws to Cavazos with a catch to the 10-5 touchdown. Cavazos scores from 47 yards out.
Arnold Cavazos, a 140-pound junior receiver, on that 47-yard pass from Carter Brink.
He broke open. You could see it coming, and Brink laid it in there perfectly. Cavazos caught it at about the 10-yard line and then got into the end zone for the score, and the Cubs lead at 34-0. Brink now with 2 touchdowns on 4 completions. Salas on to attempt the kick. A high snap that is corralled by Brink, and Salas is able to line drive it through, and the Cubs lead at 35-0 with 3:17 left in the first half. And that touchdown, as always, brought to you by the law offices of Randall, Massery and Randall. The Extra Point sponsored by Monett Glass and Mirror. Just a reminder that tonight's second quarter brought to you by Cox Health Monett, the official sports medicine provider for Monett High School athletics. This game being brought to you in part by Quick Draw Gun, featuring one of the area's largest selections of guns, ammo, and reloading supplies, located at 601 Kyler in Monett. And as we approach the 8 o'clock hour, I want to remind everybody that you're listening to the Monett Cubs on KKBL 95.9 FM in Monett, Missouri. It's all Cubs here early, folks. 35-0 as we approach halftime. Cubs with 3 touchdowns in quarter 1, 2 more here in the second period. And Salas to kick it away once again, left to right as Leonard and I look on. A end-over-end kick that is fielded at the 10, and Moore running across the 20 out to about the 25. And that's where the Cubs corral the return man, and Nevada takes over 1st and 10. So, Leonard, a couple of one-play drives for the Cubs tonight.
Drew Gwynn and Corbin McCulley on that stop. Yes, the Cubs have shown the ability to strike quickly and from long distance.
An 80-yard run on the game's first play from scrimmage, and a 47-yard scoring strike just moments ago. Sanderson will work out of the shotgun. He'll take the snap, and he'll give to his tailback. A gain of a couple on the play brings 2nd and 8. Trying to see the number of the running back, a gain of 1. I believe that was Jace Lee that carried the ball.
Larry Gutierrez and Ray Villalta on the stop for the Cubs. Gain of 1. 2nd and 9.
Ball resting at the Tiger 27-yard line. Sanderson, the quarterback, has O'Connell to his left, and it'll be O'Connell, and Kobe just has nowhere to go as he's knocked down at the 25 for a loss of 2.
Ray Villalta and Tanner Wright on the stop. A loss of 2, 3rd and 11 for the Tigers.
Tigers feature a play where the quarterback's out of the shotgun, the back is to his left, and it's kind of a counter play, and it's just not going for them tonight.
They simply can't contain that Monett defensive front. They just come pouring through like water through a sieve, and I feel sorry for their running backs.
Yeah, they have no chance to get going upfield. 3rd down and a long 11. And here is a handoff right side. See, I believe that was Matthew Thorpe with his first carry, and he'll be knocked down at the line of scrimmage.
A number of Cubs there on the stop, but Larry Gutierrez is the last number that I saw getting up, so we'll give him credit for that tackle. It's going to bring up 4th and 10 for the Tigers.
From their 26. Punt team on for the Tigers with 1 minute left here in the first half. Snap back is a good one. The kick away is a high kick that stood up by the wind, and it'll go out of bounds near the 40-yard line. A punt of, well, we're going to see where they spot it down. A punt of 12 yards and no return. His last punt, Leonard, was low line drive kick.
Right,
really
and it was
effective.
very effective, but this one got up into the wind, and that wind is strong.
Blowing out of the north-northeast, probably about 15 miles per hour, keeping everybody a little bit chilly, or a whole lot chilly here at Burl Fowler. 1st and 10 Cubs from the Nevada Tiger 37-yard line with 51 seconds left. Brink will give on misdirection to Gwynn running near side. Swings out to the 40, to the 35, to the 30, and rumbles down near a first down. He had to swing way out in the offensive backfield, but when he got turned upfield, he picked up nearly 10 yards.
Cade Bashore, a 135-pound freshman, made the tackle for the Tigers, but Jamie had to swing back to get around that outside rusher, but then turned on the speed and picked up a first for the Cubs.
Gain of 10 to the 27. Brink will give to Gunnar Bradley, running left. He cuts it up with room to the 15, 10, 5, touchdown. Gunnar Bradley from 27 yards out, and the Cubs lead it 41-0. Bradley took the handoff, running left, cut it up the middle, and went in untouched with the score with 13 seconds left before halftime. And it's been all Monett here in the first 2 quarters. Salas on to attempt the PAT. It's on its way, it's up, and it is good. 13 seconds left here before halftime. The Cubs lead 42-0. And a reminder that touchdowns brought to you by the law offices of Randall, Mastery, and Randall. The extra point sponsored by Monett Glass and Mirror, where if it shatters, it matters. The score of any contest is generally forgotten over time, but the actions of players, coaches, and fans may leave lasting impressions. The next time you attend a high school game, think of how you'll be remembered. Be sure to choose good sportsmanship. This message brought to you by Access Family Care, providing high-quality medical and general dentistry care throughout most of Southwest Missouri. So Salas to kick it away again here in the second quarter. The Cubs have put up 21 in each period. They lead at 42-0. Salas tees it up at the 40. And the kick is in the air. End over end kick that is fielded and bobbled at the 10. Moore runs to the right side, out across the 20 to about the 22. And with 6 seconds left, the Tigers will have one more snap here before halftime.
Tackle there by Gunnar Bradley. I think he's had more tackles on kickoffs than any other Cub this year.
Oh, I think so. I mean, how many did he have last week?
He had about 4 last week.
Yeah. He has a nose for the ball on special teams for sure. First and 10, Nevada at their 22-yard line. 6 seconds left before intermission. And again, Case Sanderson will work out of the shotgun. And it's a direct snap to Thorpe instead, and Thorpe will run right side, and he will pick up about a yard. And that will take us to halftime here at Burl Fowler Stadium. Our score at intermission, the Monett Cubs on senior night, 42. The Nevada Tigers, nothing. We'll be back with the first half scoring summary and our halftime show after this timeout.
High School Pizzazz Palms dance team. Tonight, the dance team is bringing you back with a palm routine that is a team favorite. The dance team's coach is Tanara Satter. Let's hear it one more time for the Monett High School Pizzazz Palms dance team.
And Burl Fowler Stadium. We are at halftime here in Monett, and it's all Cubs as they lead it 42-0. The Cubs scoring 3 touchdowns in each quarter to race out to this big lead at halftime. And with a closer look at the scoring summary, here is my broadcast partner, Leonard Bauer.
Benji, the Cubs won the toss and elected to receive the opening kickoff, which went into the end zone for a touchback. So the Cubs started with rather poor field position at their own 20, but that didn't slow them down a whole lot, because on the very first play, Brandon Majors burst through the line, was hit by a couple of would-be tacklers. He sloughed those off, broke into the clear, and went 80 yards for a touchdown on the very first play of the game. So with only 14 seconds, elapsed in the first quarter, the Cubs were on the scoreboard, and Alex Salas came in and kicked the conversion, putting the Cubs up 7-0. The next score for the Cubs came with 8:40 left in the first quarter. This time Jamie Gwynn, on a 10-yard run, scored the touchdown. Alex Salas again kicked the conversion, putting the Cubs up 14-0. And just shortly later, with 7:14 left in the first quarter, Jamie Gwynn scored again. I think this was after an interception. And Jamie scored again on a 7-yard run. Alex Salas kicked the conversion, putting the Cubs up 21-0, and that was the score at the end of the first quarter. In the second quarter, the Cubs got on the board again, this time a 5-yard pass from Carter Brink to Dylan Lynch for the touchdown, and Alex Salas kicked the conversion, and that put the Cubs up 28-0 about midway through the second quarter. Less than 2 minutes later, with 3:17 on the clock, Arnold Cavazos received a 47-yard touchdown pass from Carter Brink. Alex Salas kicked the conversion, and that made it Monett 35 and Nevada nothing. It appeared that might be the final score of the first half, but with 13 seconds left in the first half, Gunnar Bradley took a handoff from Carter Brink, broke up the middle, burst through some would-be tacklers, and went 27 yards for a touchdown. And Alex Salas again kicked the conversion, And that put the Cubs up 42-0, and that was indeed the last score of the first half.
All Cubs here in the first 2 quarters. We'll slip away here from some of our outstanding sponsors. And when Leonard and I come back, we'll take a close look at first half stats for the Cubs and the Tigers here at Burrow Fowler. Back with more of the halftime show after this timeout.
Drum majors, is your band ready? You may take the field in exhibition.
Back at Burrow Fowler Stadium, we're at halftime. The Cubs lead at 42-0. The Monett High School Marching Band entertaining the crowd here at halftime. 42-0 our score. Here's a look at first half stats. First of all, for the Nevada Tigers, they ran the ball 20 times for 22 yards, 2 of 6 passing for 21 more. So the Tigers finished the first half with 43 yards of total offense. They had 3 first downs, all of them coming on one drive. They had 1 interception, no fumbles lost in the first half, 1 penalty for 10 yards, and that was a costly penalty because the Tigers would have had the ball first and goal inside the 5, but the penalty moved them back. They punted the ball 4 times for a 25.8-yard average. For the Monett Cubs, they ran the ball 21 times and gained 274 yards in the first half. Brink was 4 of 7 passing for 75 more. So the Cubs finished the first half with 349 yards of total offense. They picked up 13 first downs. They had 1 turnover, an interception, and 1 penalty for 15 yards. Individually for the Nevada Tigers, they were led on the ground by Colby O'Connell. He had 12 rushes for 15 yards. Dylan Beechler, 2 carries for 4 yards before he was knocked out of the contest. Beechler, 2 of 5 passing. Case Sanderson came in 0 of 1, and Sanderson, in fact, caught both of the receptions when Beechler was in for 21 yards. For the Monett Cubs, they were led on the ground by Brandon Majors, 6 carries, 115 yards, and a touchdown that came on the game's first play from scrimmage. Carter Brink, 3 carries for 17 yards. Jamie Gwynn approaching 100 yards as well, as he has 94 yards on 7 carries. He has also picked up 2 touchdowns. Gunnar Bradley, 3 carries for 36 yards and a touchdown. And Kai Bouchard, 2 carries for 12 yards. Brink, 4 of 7 passing with 2 touchdowns and an interception. Dylan Lynch, 2 catches for 21 yards and a score. And Arnold Cavazos, 2 catches for 54 yards and a touchdown as well. So Leonard, an lopsided score on the scoreboard, and the Cubs outgaining the Tigers 349 to 43.
Well, this is the third game in a row that the Cubs have just been totally dominant, and it's good to see. Senior night and a lot of emotion. You felt like maybe they would be maybe too fired up and fumble the ball and make mistakes, but they've been almost mistake-free. They did have the 1 penalty and the 1 interception, which was a great defensive play by the Nevada defender. So as we hope, the Cubs came in with their head not in the clouds, but on the field, concentrating, and they did a great job from the very first play till the last play of the half.
And now what you want is an injury-free second half. Last week, the Cubs lost 2 players in back-to-back plays, so I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of second and third string players going forward, and probably earlier in the half.
I think you're right. I think we'll see a lot of new numbers on the field in the second half. And I watched the Cubs junior varsity play about 3 games this year, and there's some talented players on that junior varsity team. So I will be surprised if the Cubs don't score another touchdown or 2 with their second unit in the game before this game is over.
Well, don't be surprised to see kids running the ball like Drew Gwynn. He'll be in there, I'm sure. And if he's available, Corbin McCauley. You also think about Stuart Weltis seeing some action as well.
Right.
Two quarters are in the books. 2 more to come here at Burrow Fowler. We're going to slip away and hear from some of our outstanding sponsors. And when we come back, it will be time for second half action here at Burrow Fowler. Back after this timeout.
They took first place, Class B division, best wins, best percussion, best color guard, and 7th highest overall highest score. Ransom Martin, second place, Class 2, best drum line, 5th place overall in finals. And last week at the Carthage Maple Leaf on October 19th, first place, Class B division, best drum majors, best percussion, best color guard, 6th place overall in finals. One last time for your Monett Cub Pride Band.
Tonight's third quarter brought to you by Arvest Bank. Arvest Bank is committed to Monett and is here to support the community. Local decisions, local commitment. Arvest Bank, member FDIC. Both teams back onto the field as they go through their mandatory warm-up before the second half. We're just seconds away from the second half kick, brought to you by Home Shield Pest Control. Leonard, a great first half for the Monett Cubs. They really took care of business in each quarter, and now really it's a matter of just getting to the end of this one injury-free and get ready for district play.
Right. You know, that's the number one priority of this half, is to not get injuries, at least to key players. So I'm sure that the junior varsity players are going to get quite a bit of playing time, and that's a valuable asset for the future for them to get, you know, varsity time. And as I said, I've seen them play about 3 games this year, and there's some talent in that junior varsity. So I expect them to be able to hold their own with this Nevada team and maybe even score some points in the second half.
And you know, we've seen some of the younger players in some of the more lopsided games, but recently, as you said, these last few weeks, the Cubs have really been very dominant at against East Newton, at McDonald County, and again tonight. And then Rogersville here at home as well, in a game where the Cubs could have very well pitched a shutout. Their offense actually gave up a couple of scores, but those younger players have been seeing more action, and they're getting better and better as we go along in this season. Again, a reminder, third quarter sponsored by Arvest Bank. Show your school spirit by getting your Monett Cubs debit card at Arvest Bank. Member FDIC. 12 minutes on the clock. The Cubs to kick it away. And Alex Salas boots it down the field, and the ball will go into the end zone. Both of the backs thought the other was going to get it, and instead, and luckily for the Tigers, the ball rolled into the end zone.
Right. It could have been received at about the 5-yard line, but each of the backs thought the other might get it, and it went between them into the end zone for a touchback for the Tigers. So probably that's as good a field position or better than they would have had if they had caught it.
Now think back to the first quarter, the Cubs had a touchback, and on the first play they took it 80 yards for the score. Looking at the stat sheet, I think that may be highly unlikely here to start the third quarter, but you never know. 1st and 10, and here's a snap to Colby O'Connell, and O'Connell will get it back to the line of scrimmage. We'll see if they give him a gain on the play. No, it's put down at the 20 for no gain.
Larry Gutierrez and Cole Davis on the stop for the Cubs. No gain on the play, 2nd and 10.
And that time the Tigers kind of lined up in that double quarterback formation. This time a more traditional shotgun, as Sanderson will be in the shotgun. They're looking like they have a double backfield. It's a direct snap to O'Connell, running right, and Colby able to pick up a yard. It'll be 3rd down and long for the Tigers.
Ray Vialta and Corbin McCulley on the stop for the Cubs. A gain of a couple, 2nd and 8 for the Tigers.
Ray Vialta's been all over the field tonight.
He has, and he will be as long as he's in there. He's just almost impossible to stop.
3rd down and 9. Movement up front. See if this goes against the Cubs. I saw a defensive end lean in, and it appears that it will be a 5-yard penalty on the Cubs, and it'll bring up 3rd and 4.
Vialta jumped a little bit, but he didn't jump off sides, but his jumping caused the left end. I'm not sure who that is. Maybe it's Alex. No.
I believe.
Is it Alex Salas?
It's Parker Tigner, I think, that's in there.
Okay, that could be. I can't quite read his number, but when Ray jumped, why it caused him to jump. And Ray didn't jump off sides. He just flinched sort of, but.
Yeah, but Vialta's a big flinch.
Yes.
3rd down and 4. And now the Tigers had some miscommunication here. And it will most likely be a false start against the Tigers, so move them back 5 yards, and it'll be 3rd and 9.
We'll get back to where we started from. Yes, that time the center didn't snap the ball when about 3 or 4 of the Tigers went charging forward. So obvious call there against the Tigers. Going to be 3rd and 8.
And on the exchange of penalties, Nevada picks up about a half a yard because it was closer to the 21. Now they have it where the tip of the ball is at the 22. So we're going to call it 3rd down and 8 from the 22. Here's Sanderson looking to throw and hits his man on the right sideline. Is he in? No, he is out of bounds, incomplete. A nice pass there by the freshman, but his wide receiver came down out of bounds.
Very nice pass and a good catch, but too close to the sideline, and the receiver was out of bounds, so it goes as an incompletion.
And that might be the last we see of a lot of those starters on defense here.
And once again, the Cub receivers are much too deep, as you pointed
Yeah.
out earlier.
They're thinking they're going against Ray Guy here, I think. Here's a kick, and it is a low line driver that kind of checks up at the 45, and that's where the Cubs will take over. So a punt of 23 yards and no return.
Even with the roll, it didn't get within 15 yards of the Cub receivers.
Well, and you know, the Cubs are playing with 2 new backs as well, so Coach Ewell's probably satisfied that maybe they're not handling the ball as much. Because
Right.
the Cubs are playing without Umfleet and Cravassos.
Right. And it looks like a whole new unit in there for the Cubs on offense.
Oh, boy. Got to love that. So we'll do our best. The quarterback is Marcus Young, a freshman quarterback. And we'll try to keep everybody else sorted out as well. Young from the 45 will give on a dive play to Drew Gwynn. And Gwynn, doing his best imitation of Brandon Majors, rumbles for a gain of about 8 yards.
Noah Beshore on the stop, along with a couple other Tigers. And you're right, Drew Gwynn is no slouch at all. He's a fine running back himself, and he picks up 8 yards on his first carry.
Gwynn, a 185-pound junior, 5'9", 185. 2nd and 2. Young takes the snap. He'll give to Drew Gwynn again. And Gwynn is knocked down as he approaches 1st down yardage. He needed 2, and he's very close to that. They're going to say 1st down Cubs.
It's too cold for a measure.
Yes.
I thought he was inches short, but it's too cold for a measure.
Well, you notice the linesman over there looked over his shoulder, and he goes, yeah, that's a 1st down. So they moved it and said, that's close enough. 1st and 10, Monett from the Tiger 35-yard line. Wide receiver split wide to the right is Josh Harvey. And a miss up in the backfield. Quarterback turned one way and all the backs went the other, and Marcus is going to have to eat the ball there. It'll be a loss on the play, bringing up 2nd down and long.
Marcus found himself alone in enemy territory there. Number 12, that's Case Sanderson, made the stop for the Tigers. A loss of 1 on the play, 2nd and 11.
Yeah, well, it's a helpless feeling when that quarterback turns one way and everybody else is going the other. And then you're out there on your own. 2nd down and 11. 2 receivers wide to the near side. Here's a jet sweep coming this way. And a good hard run there by Connor Pointner. Pointner with his first carry in varsity action, as far as I can remember, picks up 2 yards.
Will Summers on the stop for the Tigers. Going to bring up 3rd and 9 for the Cubs.
And as promised, my score sheet is eroding quickly here. 3rd down, 9 for the Cubs. As they break huddle with 5 minutes left here in the 3rd quarter. Wide receiver split wide to the left. Gwynn the lone back. And misdirection, the ball handed to the running back coming near side. That was McCulley with a carry, and he picks up about 7 yards.
Stopped by a bunch of Tigers there, led by number 25, Ethan Fortner. It's going to bring up 4th and about 3 for the Cubs.
Fourth down for the Cubs.
So a gain of 7 on the play
4th and 2.
for McCulley. 4th down and 2 for the Cubs at the Tiger 27, and they will go for it here on 4th down. It is a handoff to Gwynn, and Gwynn surges forward. After a slow start there, he was able to pick up 3 yards and a first down.
Gwynn was hit just as he got the handoff, and he was stalled for a moment, and Marcus Young kind of pushed him forward, and then he got started, picked up the needed 2 yards with about a half-yard extra. So it's a 1st and 10 for the Cubs at the 24-yard line.
And
of
a
the
reminder,
Tigers.
all first downs brought to you by Crown Power and Equipment north of Monett on H Highway. 1st and 10 Cubs from just inside the 25. Here is a handoff on a sweep to the left.
That was 15.
Boussard.
Yes.
Kai picks up about 2 yards on the play, and it'll be 2nd down and 8. Well, I tell you what, they're Monett Cubs moving in and out on every play.
Yes, a lot of substitution going on.
And seniors coming to the sideline that time. Gutierrez, Riley Braden coming out as well. 2nd and 8. Here's a dive play to Drew Gwynn. And Gwynn is driven backward as he got to the 20. He'll pick up 2. It'll bring up 3rd down.
A solid tackle there by number 62. That's Wesley Balk, a 205-pound offensive linebacker for the Tigers. Going to bring up 3rd and about 5.
Now, forward progress got Drew down to the 19, so we'll give him a gain of 3 on the play. And as you mentioned, 3rd down and 5. Clock rolls with 2:40 left here in a rapidly played 3rd quarter. Young takes the snap, running the option, looking good doing so, pitches right side, and the Cubs will pick up another first down as David Fields gets a carry, and he gets it down to the 11-yard line.
Trey Moore with the push out finally for the Tigers, but it's going to be 1st and 10 from the 10. 1st and goal, I guess. They're laying the sticks down, so it's 1st and goal from the 10. The Cubs cannot get another first down. They'll have to put it in the end zone.
Fields, a 125-pound junior, picked up 8 yards on the carry. 1st and goal, Monett. And here's Drew Gwynn running left. He's to the 5, and he is knocked down inside the 5 as he spun down to about the 3.5. You thought he was going to score, Leonard.
I thought he was going to score, but all of a sudden he hit a rock wall there. Ethan Fortner on the stop, but a good gain by Drew of about 7 yards almost.
And the Tigers call a timeout here. They want to talk it over, and I'm sure Coach Beecher is over there with his young players too, you know, challenging them to come up with a stop here.
It's got to be frustrating to be in a situation as Nevada is with no victories for the season, and their quarterback hurt out, and all the, you know, they're, as you pointed out, they're a very young team. They're even playing freshmen. So it's, you know, got to be frustrating, but still you have to learn in football. You keep fighting to the end, even though it's tough uphill battle. That's part of the discipline of football, that kids learn to be tough.
They'll break their huddle on the sideline and come back out onto the field. Here come the Cubs as well. 2nd down and goal from the 3. As we look out there, Stuart Weltis in now as the tailback. And it'll be Weltis up the middle he goes, and he is driven back. He saw pay dirt, and he thought he was going to get in, but he was pounded down at the 1-yard line.
I thought he was too, but Will Summers, a 235-pound offensive lineman, had other ideas. And Stewart is 220. He's a big kid, but he got knocked back by Summers.
I tell you what, he went straight back.
Yes, he did.
Gain of 2 brings up 3rd down and goal from the 1. Again, Weltis will be the tailback. Young will take the snap and give to Weltis, and this
he's
time
in.
he is able to fall into the end zone for the score. So Weltis scores from 1 yard out, and the Cub lead grows to 48-0 with 59 seconds left. And why is that clock stopped?
Good question.
Should be rolling. Alex Salas on to attempt the PAT. Out of the hold of Carter Brink.
Alex Salas to attempt the point after.
Snap back, ball down, the kick up. It's high enough, it's long enough, and it is good. 59 seconds left here in the third quarter. And the Cubs lead at 49-0. And as we hit the 8:30 hour, just a reminder that you are listening to Big 8 Conference football and the Monett Cubs on KKBL 95.9 FM in Monett, Missouri. This game is going to be rapidly played here in the second half. The Cubs on top 49-0. That touchdown brought to you by the law offices of Randall Mastery and Randall, the extra point. Brought to you by Monett Glass and Mirror. And all kickoffs brought to you by Home Shield Pest Control. A reminder that the third quarter has been brought to you by Arvest Bank. They offer competitive loan rates with an easy application process. Member FDIC and equal housing lender. Ball teed at the 40.
Alex Salas to kick off for the Cubs.
Alex kicks it away, a driving kick that will go into the end zone again. And it'll be a touchback for the Tigers. I don't think either one of those guys want that ball.
They don't want any part of that, do they?
No, it rolled through the end zone for a touchback.
Begin their drive. First and 10 from their own 20.
First and 10, Tigers from the 20. Monett on top 49-0 in this one. Cubs got out to a big early lead, and they've just kept it going through the second and third quarter. Freshman quarterback Sanderson out of the shotgun takes the snap, and he will hand to Kobe O'Connell. O'Connell with a nice run there is able to scamper out to about the 25. He'll pick up nearly 5 yards.
I am not sure who made that tackle for the Cubs, but a good gain for the Tigers of almost 5 yards.
Could have been David Madrid. He's in there at linebacker. Drew Gwynn potentially came off that pile as well. Second down and 5. And movement up front. It appears that the right defensive end jumped early for the Cubs. Will be offside and should be enough for a Tiger first down.
Right, Josh Harvey got a little bit too anxious on that play and jumped offside. I thought it should be a little bit short again, but
hey,
I mean, it's cold, so you
know
move
what?
the chains and go on.
If it's close enough for the Cubs, it's close enough for the Tigers. And that brings us to the end of the third quarter. Our score, Monett 49, Nevada nothing. We'll be back with the final 12 minutes after this timeout.
Everybody clap your hands.
Back at Burrow Fowler, ready for fourth quarter action. Sanderson flips it out here to the near side, has his receiver, and that's Trey Moore And Moore able to pick up additional 6 or 7 yards, a gain of 16 and a first down.
Arnold Cavazos and Connor Pointer on the stop for the Cubs. The Tigers do a good job of throwing that little pass out in the flat. The previous quarterback did, and this quarterback now. That was an excellent pass, good catch, 1st and 10 for the Tigers.
And it seems like they run those quarterbacks really the opposite direction. They roll right with a lefty and roll left with a righty. Here's a pass near side that went through the hands of the defender and through the hands of the receiver. It falls incomplete.
Number 22, Connor Pointer, had a bead on that, thinking he might get an interception, but it was a little over him, and Arnold Cavazos was behind the receiver. Incomplete pass, 2nd and 10.
Arnold, one of the more experienced players out on this defensive unit right now. Cubs with 4 down linemen, 4 linebackers, 3 defensive backs, 2nd down and 10. Sanderson out of the shotgun, looks left, flips it left. It is incomplete. They're going to go ahead and call it incomplete. Nearly a lateral, but they rule it a forward pass.
It was very close to a lateral, but a little bit forward, so it is an incomplete pass. Brings up 3rd and 10 for the Tigers.
You know, when I see those left-handed throwers, it always takes me back to the days of Ken Stabler and the Oakland Raiders. He was
the snake.
The snake. And then there was a guy from Seattle, Jim Zorn, that was a left-handed thrower as well. 3rd down and 10 for the Tigers. Sanderson will roll left, throws left. He was under pressure, and the pass is behind the intended receiver, bringing up 4th down.
Number 82, I believe it is, for the Cubs.
Yes, you're right.
Luke Johnson was all over the Nevada quarterback, forcing him to throw the ball before he wanted to. Brings up 4th and 10.
And the Tigers will keep the offense on the field going forward here on 4th down. Case Sanderson out of the shotgun, takes the snap. Will roll near side, throw near side, and the pass is incomplete as it went off a pair of hands and falls to the turf. The Cubs will take over 1st and 10.
Good defense there by Arnold Cavazos and Connor Pointer again, one in front and one behind the receiver. The pass falls incomplete, goes over to the Cubs. It'll be 1st and 10 now from the Nevada 46-yard line. So the 2nd team Cub defense did a good job of holding the Tigers and keeping the shutout intact.
We see some new linemen in there. Again, Joe Korsick in for the Cubs. Fernando Hinojosa in there as well. 1st and 10 Cubs. Weltis with a dive play. And a scrum breaks out between the 40 and the 45. And he's able to pick up a couple, maybe 3 yards on the play to bring up 2nd down and 7.
A number of Tigers in on the stop there. 64 Omar Vargas and 52 Michael Culpepper, the leader of that group. Gain of 2, 2nd and 8 for the Cubs.
And I'll try to get as many names and numbers in as I possibly can. They just don't turn my direction, Leonard, just like you.
No, they're sideways to us, and it's hard to read the numbers when that's the case. Number 22 has it now.
He has a jet sweep running right side to the 40, and a good hard run there by Connor Pointer. Pointer able to pick up maybe 5 yards on the play.
Wesley Balk on the stop for the Tigers. I've noticed in the JV games that Connor Pointer has pretty good speed, and he showed it on that play.
3rd down, and we'll call it a long 3. Ball at the 39-yard line. Well, it's 3rd and 3 as they need to get to the 36. Here's a handoff up the middle to Weltis, and Weltis will have the 1st down. And Nate Urban in at quarterback now, I believe, Leonard.
Yeah, you're right. Number 8 is in at quarterback.
And Weltis goes from the 39 to the 33 for a gain of 6 and a 1st down.
Trey Moore on the stop for the Tigers.
Clock rolling, steamrolling down to 6:50 left here in the fourth quarter. Cubs have it at the 33. 1st and 10. Here's another dive play up the middle. It goes. See who that was.
Was it Stewart again?
No, it was not.
Oh, it was number 26, Ryan Withnell.
Withnell with a carry and a good hard run between the tackles. So Withnell with a gain of 7 yards on the play, and he really burst onto the scene there.
Yes.
Those guys up front doing a good job. One coming to the sideline right now is Isaac Tickner, a freshman, 5'10", 210 pounds. Getting to see some action tonight. 2nd down and 3 for the Cubs. Again, a dive play with Nell again, I believe, as he gets close to another 1st down for the Cubs.
Saying it's just short, I think. 3rd and about a half yard for the Cubs with the ball resting at the Nevada 23.5-yard line.
Much easier sometimes to get these guys as they come to the sideline. Josh Harvey checking out, a freshman. A lot of freshmen getting some action here. 3rd down and less than a yard as Nate Irvin works under center. Nate takes the snap and gives on a dive play, and this will be close to a 1st down. With Nell with a carry. Needed about a yard, but he came up just short, so it's 4th down.
He hit a solid wall at the line of scrimmage and was not able to gain any yardage. Going to bring up 4th and about a half yard for the Cubs.
Play coming into the sideline from David Madrid. Madrid wearing number 4 on his uniform back. Withnell is the tailback. Irvin is the quarterback. On 4th down and a foot. Here is a sweep right side. That'll be a 1st down as Madrid will get down near the 20-yard line for a gain of 4.
Nice hole opened up there for Madrid, and 1st and 10 for the Cubs with 4.5 minutes left in the game and the clock running.
Ball resting right at the Tiger 20-yard line, and the Cubs pick up their 18th 1st down of the contest. Wide receiver split wide to the left is
number 3, I believe.
Number 3, Dylan Gorman out here. Oh, there's got to be a penalty here, but no, they're going to keep the flag.
Didn't see a flag, but it looked like there were 2 players in motion.
Withnell with a carry up the middle. There were 2 guys in motion at the snap there, but maybe it's too cold for that too.
Yes.
A gain of a couple for Withnell.
2nd and 8 for the Cubs.
Leonard, I'm going to count this up real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 different Cubs carrying the ball tonight so far.
That's great to get experience for all those young kids.
2nd down and 8 for the Cubs. Here's a jet sweep. The ball on the ground. Ball was going to be handed to Christian Johnson.
And looks like
Johnston got it back.
No, Cubs got it back.
No gain on the play, but Johnston's in the scorebook. 5'4", 120-pound freshman. Boy, that's unfair, Coach Ewell. 4 subs in, 4 subs out on every play. It's hard to keep track.
Yes, it is.
3rd down and 8. The clock rolling with 2:40 left here in the 4th quarter. Cubs well on their way to their 7th victory of the year. Nate Irvin under center on 3rd down and 8. Takes the snap, and he'll give to Withnell. Right up the middle he goes, and he might score. No, he's tripped up at the 5, but it'll be another 1st down after a gain of 12 yards.
Nice run there by Ryan Withnell, setting the Cubs up in a position to score again, 1st and goal from the Nevada 6-yard line.
I thought he was going to score, but he got tripped up at the very end. 1st and goal Cubs, as they have 19 1st downs tonight. Ball at the 6. Cubs in no hurry here. Irvin will work under center. And he will take a knee. So yet another Cub with a carry, even though it'll be a loss of a yard there as the Cubs go into victory formation here.
He'll need to do that one more time, I think, before.
Maybe 2. Minute and 20 seconds. Well, we'll see. You may be right, Leonard. It's really close.
See, he can let the clock run now for another 20 seconds before he snaps it.
Yeah.
So I think this may be the last snap of the night, and then they've got 40 seconds once the play is over.
It'll be
play clock.
Yeah.
close.
One more play.
Yeah, he takes a knee, loses 1 yard, and they'll reset now. He will have to snap it one more time, and this one will be in the record books. The Cubs will improve their season record to 7-2, and they're working on a 6-game winning streak. Nevada will drop to 0-9, and this will be their 15th loss in a row. And the final snap as Irvin takes a knee, and the game clock is at 27. The play clock is at 38, so that will do it here as the teams gather at midfield, and they'll come across the field to congratulate one another here after the Week 9 contest. The final score here at Burl Fowler Stadium, the Monett Cubs 49 and the Nevada Tigers nothing. We'll be back, take a look at the scoring summary and post-game stats. Talk it over to Coach Ewell as well in the Monett Cub postgame. We'll be back after this timeout. Back at Burrow Fowler Stadium, fireworks during the game, fireworks after the game. And that's kind of a new twist, Leonard. I don't
Yes.
remember fireworks shows after football games here at Monett.
They copied McDonald County. McDonald County had that, and I've never seen it in all my years here at Monett. They've never had fireworks after a game, but that's quite an impressive display. It's not just a couple Roman candles over there.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's a very good display here. And
wow.
yeah, this is quite impressive.
If you're watching it, on
Monett Web TV.
On Monett Web TV, I'm sure you're seeing it. If you're just listening to it on the radio, you can probably hear the popping in the background, and take our word, it's very impressive with lots of red and green and gold and stars all over the place.
Yeah, and what's funny here is the Monett Cub players huddled at the 50 watching it, and all the fans on the track waiting to come on to congratulate the players watching it. And here we are stalling time as well as we watch it, but it's quite an impressive display here. Well, Leonard, I'm going to have to put you to work. I'm sorry. 49-0 our score here.
But I want to watch the fireworks.
Well, you can watch it for a while. I'll let you wait. We'll step back and watch here.
No,
the Cubs got out to a big early lead in this one, and they cruised to a victory, improving to 7-2 on the season. And now they gear up for district play. Most likely to take on Hollister, and that'll be a home game a week from tonight here at Burrow Fowler. And this is, I tell you what, let's just hang on here for a while. This is pretty good.
I can't believe this. I thought at first they're going to have a couple of fireworks, but this has been going on for some time, and they are brilliant, terrific fireworks.
Yeah, they were, and a lot of purple and yellow, purple and white,
yes.
too. You notice that? So I don't know if that's by chance.
These recent ones, there's more purple. Earlier there was red and green, and Benji, looking at these last 3 games of the season, they have gone just the way we hoped they would. A shutout in all 3 games, 47, 47, and 49 points scored in them. The only drawback in that time has been the injury to the 2 players that had to sit out tonight. But what a marvelous conclusion to the regular season for the Cubs after a discouraging start of being 1-2 after 3 games. So,
well, Leonard, here at the end of the fireworks, here comes your Roman candles.
Yes.
but they just keep coming. I think. I don't know who was responsible for that, but they did a really good job.
I don't know either, but it is impressive, and it's a fitting culmination to a truly excellent season on the part of the Monett Cub football team.
Really was. They finished 7-2 with a 49-0 victory. And Leonard, why don't you go ahead and take everyone through the scoring summary of tonight's contest?
Right. The Cubs won the opening toss and decided to take the football. The Tigers kicked off to the Cubs. The kickoff went into the end zone, so it looked like the Cubs were starting out poorly with bad field position at their 20-yard line. But it was just setting up for something really good. Brandon Majors broke through the line on the first play from scrimmage, shook off a couple of tacklers, broke into the open, and went racing down the field. And Brandon is not a sprinter, and he was about to be caught. But Jamie Gwynn, who is a sprinter, ran in front of the defender who was chasing Brandon, got in his way. He didn't really have to block him. He just got in his path, kept him from catching Brandon. So Brandon went 80 yards for a touchdown on the very first play from scrimmage. So with only 14 seconds gone off the clock, the Cubs had a touchdown, and Alex Salas came in and perfect Alex tonight kicked the conversion, putting the Cubs up 7-0. The Cubs' second score came with 8:40 left in the first quarter. This time Jamie Gwynn didn't have to shield a tackler. He ran it in himself from 10 yards out. A 10-yard touchdown run by Jamie. Alex Salas kicked the conversion, putting the Cubs up 14-0. And less than a minute later, with 7:14 left, Jamie Gwynn scored again on a 7-yard touchdown run. Alex Salas kicked the conversion, putting the Cubs up 21-0. No score then for the rest of the quarter. That was the way the first quarter ended. In the second quarter, with 5:35 left, Dylan Lynch received a 5-yard touchdown pass from Carter Brink. Alex Alice kicked the conversion, and that put the Cubs up 28-0. About 2 minutes later, with 3:17 left in the second quarter, Arnold Cavazos received a 47-yard touchdown pass from Carter Brink, and Alex Salas kicked the conversion, and that put the Cubs up 35-0. It appeared that that would probably be the final score of the first half, but not to be. With only 13 seconds left in the half, Gunnar Bradley broke free up the middle on a 27-yard touchdown run. Alex Salas kicked the conversion, and that put the Cubs up 42-0, and that's the way the first half ended. In the second half, with the big lead, the Cubs went to their second unit, both on offense and defense. And with 59 seconds left in the third quarter, Stuart Weltus, a freshman running back, broke free for a 1-yard touchdown run, and Alex Salas kicked the conversion, and that put the Cubs up 49-0. Then in the fourth quarter, the Tigers, frantically trying to move the ball, were trying to throw the ball. They threw picked up one first down with a nice completion, but then threw some incompletions, and the Cubs took over the ball, drove it down deep into Tiger territory, and then on the verge of scoring another touchdown, took a knee for a couple of times and let the clock run out instead of scoring again. And that produced the final score, Monett 49, Nevada 0.
Thank you, Leonard, for keeping track of all those scores. The Cubs with 7 touchdowns tonight. Alex Salas, a perfect 7 of 7, kicking the PATs here this evening. Cubs win at 49-0. We'll be back, take a look at postgame stats, and talk it over with Coach Ewell here in the Monett Cub postgame. Back after this timeout. Back at Burl Fowler Stadium, Benji Finsky along with Leonard Bauer and our producer-engineer Ryan Dasso. The Cubs win at 49-0. Here's a look at post-game stats here from Burl Fowler. The Nevada Tigers ran the ball 23 times in the game, picked up 28 yards on the ground. They were 3 of 12 passing for 37 yards, so total yards for the Tigers at 65 tonight. They did pick up 5 first downs. They had 1 turnover and interception, 2 penalties for 15 yards, and 5 punts for a 25.2-yard average. For the Monett Cubs, they ran the ball 46 times for 356 yards tonight, 4 of 7 passing for 75 more. Total yards 431 for the Cubs. 19 first downs tonight with 1 turnover, 3 penalties for 25 yards, and the Cubs did not punt the ball tonight. Individually, for the Nevada Tigers, they were led on the ground by Colby O'Connell, 15 carries for 21 yards. Dylan Beechler, 2 of 5 passing before he was knocked out of the contest. Case Sanderson, 1 of 7. Sanderson, the leading receiver, with 21 yards on 2 catches. For the Monett Cubs, they were led on the ground by Brandon Majors, who did not carry the ball in the second half. He finished with 115 yards on 6 carries. Jamie Gwynn had 94 yards in the first half on 7 carries. And like I said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 different Cubs carried the ball tonight as a lot of guys got into the scoring ranks. Brink, 4 of 7 passing in first half, 2 touchdowns. Lynch, 2 catches for 21 yards and a score. Arnold Cavazos, 2 catches for 54 yards and a score as well. So lots of guys contributing to this one. And Leonard, you know, we'll go ahead and start talking about, I'm going to make a suggestion this time on player of the game.
All right.
Okay, I'm going to say, I'm going to nominate the offense and defensive lines. Anytime you run for 350 yards in a contest and hold the other team down to about 1 yard per carry, something's going on up front. So why don't we just award this week's players of the game the offensive and defensive lines?
I cannot argue with that. We've talked all season about how that is the crucial part of the game is the line play, and that certainly has been good for the Cubs all year, and tonight just carried on that. So the offensive and defensive lines will be the people that we will recognize on the deep. You know, I guess we ought to do some names there on the defensive line.
Well, it starts with Ray Vialta
Ray
tonight.
Vialta and number 17, Tanner Wright. Brandon Majors played there some, and number 75, Larry Gutierrez was there on defense in that defensive line.
Yeah.
Alex Salas played a little bit in the defensive line tonight, and Harrison Merriman. So that's pretty much the defensive linemen. On offense, there was Wesley Merriman and Harrison Merriman and Chet Butterworth and Christian Selvey, the center. Let's see. Riley Braden played some
Yes,
on
he
that
did.
offensive
And
line too.
Lots of names and numbers tonight. So congratulations to all those young men. They are the Crowder College players of the game. With over 50 years as successful graduates, Crowder College is committed to academic excellence. Crowder College, where you are the difference. So being joined in postgame by Coach Derek Ewell. Well, Coach, congratulations on another big win.
Thanks, Benji.
3 weeks in a row with 7 scores. 3 weeks in a row where your defense pitched a shutout. And I don't know, I think you got everybody in. I don't know who you missed.
I think we did. I mean,
Yeah.
we got all the freshmen in, and it was neat to see. We got them. You know, we got a pretty good rotation going there with linemen and all the positions, and so they all got to play tonight.
Yeah, you're telling me my stat sheet looks awful. 15 different Cubs ran the ball tonight, and you know, you did a really good job spreading that out tonight, and it gave you an opportunity to rest some guys who were hurt a week ago.
Yeah, my wife's not going to be happy with that stat thing because she helps me with stats. That's a lot more stats, but yeah, we got to rest, you know, Ethan and Junior tonight, so that was big for us. I think they're getting better. And I think, next week they're going to try to go, and hopefully they'll be ready to go.
Yeah, next week we get ready for district play, and I'm assuming at this point you'll probably take on Hollister, I would assume.
I think we have Hollister. So that's what we've been planning for the last couple of weeks. We kind of had a feel how things were going to go, hopefully, and so we'll have them here. I don't know if Monett's ever played Hollister before. I don't believe we have, so that'll be a first. And to have a home game is nice for us.
It really is, and I was telling Leonard, and us media type, we're kind of silly about stuff, but I was looking back through some stuff and ran across stuff from 2016, which was a pretty good year, by the way. And I think the path that the Cubs took that year was a home game in district, and then Cassville, and then Mount Vernon.
Yep, that's what it was.
And it's kind of shaping up that way again.
Yep, hopefully, of course you always take one at a time, but,
yep.
Hopefully if we, we'll see. We just got to keep playing the way we're playing, and if we do that, then everything will work out for us.
It's really funny. We talked back in week 3 when you stood 1 and 2, and we talked about there might be a chance down the line that you'll see these guys again, and there is a chance, but you do have to take care of Hollister first. And Hollister's not a fluke. They're 4-4 coming into tonight, and they've played some pretty good ball.
Yeah, and I've seen them on film against Lamar, and they do. They have decent sized line, and they got a big, tall quarterback, and they have some speed. So we're gonna have to get prepared for them. And their split back veer team, I believe their coach played at Webb City, so he does he runs Webb City's offense, and our kids are gonna have to come ready to play.
Yeah, and it's good that it's a home game against kind of an unknown opponent. I know you'll study up on them a lot and get your kids ready. Your team has really played some really good ball, and your defensive line, your offensive line, they were our players of the game. They just dominated tonight.
Yeah, and it was neat. The first play of the game, Brandon went 80 yards, and he scored on a long run and not got caught from behind. He didn't get caught from behind, and so that was really great for him. And we're hanging our hat on our line, and our defensive line again came up big, and offensive line's been playing well too.
Yeah, Brandon, I was kind of kidding with Leonard that said if you want to know how fast Brandon can run 80 yards, it's 14 seconds.
That's right.
But now he had to break a couple of tackles to get started there, but it was nice to see him score on that first play, and it really kind of set the tone for the rest of the game.
Yeah, his run was actually it took less time for that than the fireworks show. That fireworks show was impressive.
Yeah, wasn't that something?
Yeah, that's like Lake Mission Viejo back home. That's what I was saying. That's about as good a fireworks show as I've seen.
Well, we saw one last week at McDonald County, and you can't be outdone by that. So,
no, I don't know if you call that one.
Yeah, this was quite impressive, and it was fun to watch from here because your team was huddled at midfield. The fans didn't want to come out and break it up, so they huddled over here at the track, and it was a good show. Yeah. And I guess you knew that was coming, or no?
Well, I knew it was coming. I just didn't realize it was going to be like that. That was, like I said, that was pretty impressive. I thought maybe a few more than what we saw at Matt County, but it wasn't that.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. Well, it's on to districts now, a home game against Hollister, it appears. And then beyond that, this is a district that has 6 teams that are 500 or better coming into tonight. It's a tough district.
It is a tough district, and it's a great district, really. That's why we've had so much success. Guys that come out of this district, they do well in the playoffs because it is a tough district, and you're kind of battle tested to when you get out. So, for our kids' night, winning we share a conference championship with somebody. Don't know who, but yeah. So probably share it with Seneca. So that was a huge accomplishment for our kids, and I know that that's something that they wanted, and I couldn't be more happier for our seniors and just all of them.
Yeah, and you know what? When you started the year 1 and 2, kids could have hung their heads, but they didn't. And then you had Lamar on the horizon and came out and really throttled the Tigers that night in week 4. And I think that more than anything else was the turning point in your year.
I think it was too. They could have gone a different direction after Mount Vernon and made excuses in Cassville, but they get it. They understand how close they were in that game, and even the Cassville game. If we would have played a decent first half, which we didn't play a very good first half, so and to come back and to win 5 or 6, I think 5 in a row, whatever we're at, and it just tells you that we got a good bunch of kids, and they're playing for each other, and you want, like you said last week, you want to be playing your best football towards this time of the year, and I feel like they're doing that.
You absolutely are. When you can score 21 touchdowns in the last 3 weeks and then just throttle the opponent. Tonight, I've got stat sheet somewhere. Nevada ends up with 65 yards of offense and 28 yards on the ground on 23 carries. I mean, your defense is showing up completely, and then you run for almost 360 yards and end up with 430 total offense. So really, and special teams are playing well. You don't have to punt very much right now. That's all right.
Yeah, we didn't have to punt tonight, and our kickoff team is so much better. That's been really big for us, and we kind of mix some kids in there, and they're really that's a unit that has to mesh really well too, and they're doing a good job and kind of taking pride in it, and joking around about Gunnar Bradley makes all the tackles, which he makes a majority of them, but all those guys are running down, and Gunnar is making a ton of plays, but there's a lot of guys running, and that's the big thing, is just getting down there.
And you think back to week 1 against Mount Vernon, it was a different story then, and they looked like they were going to break several, and now the coverage is spectacular.
It is. I mean, and I'd even say a few more games after Mount Vernon, we were a little shaky too, and that's kind of been fixed. And I just feel like they're taking a lot of pride in it, and that's a big part of it. You take pride in wanting to make pin them down, and helps us, defensively and even offensively. So yeah, they're all those guys are doing a good job.
And we even mentioned Carter Brink. He does a great job running your offense, but he's a heck of a holder for kicks.
Yeah.
And even tonight, he took one that was a really high snap and was able to get it down, and the PAT was true after that. That could play huge dividends down the line.
Yeah, they kicked it up. We didn't have our tee one of the kicks, and he caught it and put it on the grass, and Alex put it through. But I thought Carter had another solid game. We ran more midline tonight, and he pulled it and had some good runs himself. And the throw he made to Arnold on that deep ball, that was a beautiful throw and really a beautiful catch by Arnold. Those two guys hooked up. So for a senior, it was neat for him to have the game that he had.
And I thought originally he was going to throw it somewhere else, because you had another receiver that broke open, and I saw it out of the corner of my eye, and I said, "Oh, receiver breaks open," and then the ball went a different direction, but he caught it, so it made it look good anyway. So. Yeah. But a great effort. So now it's about learning about the Hollister Tigers as quickly as you can and getting ready for them. And it appears that you know a little bit about them as you're gearing up for district.
Yeah, and like you said, our district is, all these teams have played each other, so we have seen some film on them, and they're gonna they're gonna be a tough first round opponent, and everybody kind of is in that boat. They're gonna have a tough first round opponent, and you can't take anybody lightly. And like I said, it's nice to have a home game, and our boys will be ready to play.
And one final thought here, Leonard and I talked about the playoff structure that we have in Missouri now. I think they've pretty well got it right. Everybody gets into the party on week 10.
Yeah.
And then if you want to keep playing, you just win.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, not every district is created equal.
That's true. I've been here 12 years, and I've seen 3 different scenarios. When I first moved here, it was the last 3 games, and then they took 1, and then they took 2, and now we're where we're at. I mean, I like how they have Class 3 with everybody has 8 teams. I'm looking around some of these classes. They have like 5 teams. That
right.
To me, that's a little odd, and they need to fix that. I don't know how you fix it. I shouldn't say that, but I know Class 3 is tough, and I don't want them changing anything that we got going Class 3 wise. But year to year, it seems like they do change it.
Well, I think there's 64 teams in Class 3, if I'm not mistaken, and also in Class 2, yeah. Also in Class 1. And those work out great, but yeah, you get in those bigger classifications, there's a smaller number of teams. But for now, it's on to an 8-team tournament, and the Hollister Tigers will be here next Friday, and we look forward to talking with you after another victory.
Thanks, Benji.
Thanks, Coach. We'll be back to wrap it up after this. Back one final time at Burrow Fowler. A reminder that you've been listening to the Monett Cubs on KKBL 95.9 FM and Monett Web TV as well. Leonard, a rocky start at the beginning of the year, but this ship is sailing pretty good right now.
Certainly is. Very little negative that you can say about it right now.
You know, and the big thing is to get kids healthy and just keep them, you know, and at this point, if you can't get motivated about playing football, you just can't get motivated. So I don't think that's going to be an issue because now it's nose to the grindstone and one win at a time and win and survive in advance, right?
Right.
So, and I think the Cubs have as good a chance as any to win this district.
I think so too. We've seen Mount Vernon, we've seen Cassville that we've lost to, and we both felt like we could have won those games. And I think the Cubs have improved since then. Now, Mount Vernon and Cassville maybe have improved also. But by the way, I don't know if our listeners have heard, but we've got the score that Lamar beat Cassville tonight by a score of 14-10.
Wow, what a game.
So that makes the Cubs champions of the West Division of the Big Eight with Seneca. And it's been a number of years since the Cubs have won a conference championship in football.
Yeah. Because
Lamar was winning it all there. Cassville won it last year. Lamar won it for like 6 years in a row or so. Carl Junction was winning it before that. So it's been a while since the Cubs have won it. And this group of seniors can take a lot of pride in that conference championship.
And like I told Coach Yule when we were off the air, when you win a conference championship, that's a sign of excellence throughout a year.
Right.
You win a district, you get hot at the right time. You win 3 games. But when you win a conference title, you go through everybody to get there. And so congratulations to the Cubs for that, especially after the start of the season that they had. And really got things turned around. And what really turned around this season is that win against Lamar back in week 4.
Yeah, I agree with you.
They really got it going there, and then, home win against Rogersville, and then the big win at Seneca. Don't overlook that one because that was a tough ball game, 35-28.
Yes, it was.
And then 3 straight since then, 47, 47, and 49. Well, Leonard, it was fun. Once again, I appreciate your help and Ryan's, and hopefully everybody enjoyed the game as much as we did. It was a heck of a contest.
It was. Some people like a closer contest, and it is more exciting when it's 22-21 or something like that. But there's a certain joy in watching all these different players perform at a high level tonight. And those young kids like Stuart Wells is getting to score a touchdown as a freshman, and Ryan Withnell making some good runs, and some of the other kids playing on defense and doing a great job. So it's nice to see that in the game too.
Absolutely. I want to remind everybody to catch the Coach Yule Show next Friday evening right here on 95.9 FM. Coach Yule sits down with KKBL's Sammy Clapper each week to discuss the contest that they went through, tonight's victory over the Tigers, and they'll also preview the upcoming game against Hollister. Coach Yule's show can be heard just ahead of our pregame show right here on KKBL. As we come to the end of tonight's broadcast, I would like to thank all of the great people here at Monett High School for their help and their hospitality, not only tonight, but, this year and for the last 12, 13 years that I've been doing this for Monett. I would also like to thank Coach Yule for visiting with us in the postgame show. It's always good to hear from him each and every week. A special thanks also goes out to all the fine sponsors who make this broadcast possible. We cannot do this job without your support, so Cub fans, please get out there and support all these local businesses and let them know how much you appreciate them. And finally, a big thank you to all our listeners out there. Thanks for being with us each and every Friday night during this season. Hopefully you enjoy listening to the Monett Cubs as much as we do bringing these games to you. Just a reminder that our next football broadcast will be coming your way next Friday evening as the Cubs most likely will be hosting the Hollister Tigers. That game will definitely be here, we know that, and we assume it will be against Hollister. Pregame is set to begin at or around 6:25 with kickoff scheduled at 7 p.m. from Burl Fowler. Once again, our final score from the stadium tonight, Monett 49, Nevada nothing. For my broadcast partner Leonard Bauer and our producer engineer Ryan Dasso, this is Benji Finsky saying thanks for following the Cubs and good night from Monett.